Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mind Sports Olympiad 2019. We're watching Plakoto Backgammon. I'm Ryan Young, I'm joined by Steve Rain. How's it been going today so far?
It's been a long day so far, but we've got one event to go. It is a version of backgammon called Plakoto. It's been played here for about 4 years. I'm not sure exactly how old it is. Do you have any insight into that?
Not this variation of backgammon. Backgammon itself, the history and where it's come from is entirely lost, but you can maybe trace it back to Persia, maybe even back to ancient Egypt and Senate with it as the first race game and one of the very first board games. But backgammon itself has so many variations from Japan to Iceland, it's hard to track it down. But Persia is maybe the earliest version or the earliest recorded mention of it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So we've got a game here in round one. There were 5 rounds between Charlotte Levy playing black on the bottom and Peter Horlock. You can see his hand, hi Peter's hand, on the top. And just to orientate the board for those people who've played Backgammon before, Charlotte Levy's playing black. She started in the bottom left and she's going anti-clockwise round the board to the top left. Peter started in the top left and he's going clockwise round the board to the bottom left. On backgammon you roll 2 dice and you move those 2 dice, you move each piece so for example Peter's rolled a 6 and a 2, he has to move 1 piece 6, then 1 piece 2, and that can be the same piece. Or you could do 2 then 6, you can do either round. So he's moving this piece to 6 and that piece to 2 and he's got that point. The difference between Plakoto and regular backgammon is in regular backgammon you've got something called hitting. So if you hit someone, you don't actually stand up and punch them on the other side of the table. You hit them by capturing a single piece of theirs by landing one of yours on it, and you send theirs effectively back to the start. And their first thing they've got to do is get it out again. This varies slightly in that you're not hitting people, you're pinning them. So if we look, again, just for numbering's sake, Charlotte's first space on the bottom left is point 1. All the way to point 12 on the bottom, then above point 12 to 13, all the way to 24. If we look at point 20, we can see that Peter has pinned one of Charlotte's black pieces. What's that mean?
Well, it means that Charlotte cannot move that piece. So yes, Peter has blocked it. Charlotte cannot move that piece until Peter has moved his own piece off that. But it might be difficult for him to do that. Oh no, there's if we look at the points following that from 18, 17, 16, 18, 16 and 14, he has the opportunity to move it off, but
why would you?
Why would you when you halt some movement?
So the difference is it's the more you roll, eventually you will get to an end position, whereas regular backgammon you can have a lot more kind of toing and throwing. And this particular point, you're trying to pin your opponent's pieces and restrict them. Now, just as normal as backgammon, a point with 2 stones on it can't be pinned effectively. That includes one for your opponent. So if your opponent's pinned yours, you can't re-pin them or anything like that. And if you look at point 16, where Peter has got Charlotte's pinned by 3 of his pieces, that is completely fine as well. Charlotte can't move that until all 3 of Peter's pieces are gone.
Bad news for Charlotte on this is on point 6. Charlotte is pinned by 2 pieces, but this is even worse because it's in her home base. Well, not her home base, but in her
home quarter.
Yeah. So Peter might not relinquish that piece till very late in the game when he has almost gotten the rest of his pieces into his home board, into where he has to bear them off. Yeah.
So Peter's probably got the advantage in terms of strategic holding. So basically he's holding the piece of Charlotte's that's furthest back. The pieces of Peter's that Charlotte's holding are not very far around at all. In fact, Peter's also got a piece of Charlotte's on point 16 as well. However, converse to that, Charlotte's got control of slightly more points. So Peter's got to avoid. Charlotte's got 4 out of 5 in the second quadrant on points 7 through 11. Charlotte's got 4 of them. So it's hard for Peter to get past. What Peter would really like to do is kind of take hold of point 9. If Peter can get 2 in point 9, then he can protect some of his movement through Charlotte's territory. Same as normal backgammon, if you roll a double, you get 4. So Peter, if Peter rolls a double 6, which I think is what he's rolled now, he has to move 4 6s. And in backgammon, you can't not move it. If he's rolled a double 6 and he only wants to move 3, tough. He has to move that 4th one as well.
Doubles in particular in backgammon Plakoto, it seems to be advantageous because you can move 2 blocks of 2, so that you can create a kind of block on 2 points and protect them from any pinning that might happen.
Yeah, it seems to come to the pay. So from the limited games I've played of this, it seems to come from whoever pins the most or pins the furthest back potentially has the advantage. Otherwise, it is just a race. Everything you roll, assuming you can move, you will move. So in the end, whoever rolls the highest might win, but that's not the case. What will happen here, for example, if the one on point 6 is the only one pinned towards the end of the game, Peter will move those 3 at the very last. He'll move all his other pieces as far around as they go until he can't move anymore, and then he will finally blink a Charlotte, and hopefully he will have enough of a head start to kind of bear off quickest. Bearing off is when all your pieces are in your home quadrant. Apologies, the last quadrant. So for example, Charlotte, the top left, or Peter, the bottom left. And then you can put them off the board, and when all your pieces are off the board, you win the game. That's the same as regular backgammon, but if you haven't played regular backgammon, that's how they're trying to do it.
Indeed, there is another way that you can win Plakoto Backgammon.
There is, yes.
Is if all of your 15 pieces are initially on your first point.
On the one spot.
Yeah, for Charlotte is point 1, and for Peter it's point 24. If all but one of those have been moved and your opponent manages to pin the last one on that point, then you automatically lose unless your own last checker has not moved off the
So if you can move all yours off your starting point and then you pin theirs, you win the game.
Yeah.
If you pin theirs, you've just got to move yours safely off the starting point, and then you win. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't happen that often because people are so aware that it's a ridiculous way to lose a game. So you're concentrating on kind of getting out. But you're trying to get out safely from your starting point. You're trying to make it safely. You're trying to give you enough kind of points you control with at least 2 pieces on that you've got enough kind of safe spots to go onto. But you're also trying to go as quickly round as you can and attack your opponent. If you can move around quickly and pin one of theirs in their home territory, you get that long-term advantage that Peter's got here.
Yeah.
So now there's only 1 pin each. Charlotte has pinned Peter on point 8, but that's not too bad for Peter because that is close to where he needs to get it to anyway. So as soon as Charlotte moves, he hasn't got far to go to get it off.
Yep. And she had 3 checkers on it, so she would only have to move 1 off.
Yeah. Now this is bad. What she'd like to do is keep her position and potentially capture another one of Peter's, but she's got a 6 and 5, and because all the ones that she can move freely are in her home territory, she can't move either of them 6 or either of them 5. So she's got a really bad move now. She could either move the 2 on point 11, 6 and a 5, or these 2 in, and that just gives her fewer shots to try and get Peter's on point 18.
Is that a 2 and a 3 for Peter? Yeah.
There's a 2 and a 3. He's going to move that there. Oh no, he's not. 2, 3. Yeah.
It's a pretty good position for Peter. He's got 12, 3, 14 blocked.
Yeah.
He's got 10 blocked as well. So
they're not necessarily blocked. They give him safe places to land because he's going to win the race. If there's no more punning, he should win the race. I believe should be favoured. Although it's currently behind on regular backgammon, like in terms of the number of spaces. Charlotte needs to go to the end, and Peter she's currently ahead. But she's unluckily rolled another 6 again. So although she moves her piece quite far, she leaves another one of her pieces pinnable. And sadly, Peter can't collect. But he can move the 2 off 18. 18 onto 13 and 14. So this is the last event of the day. This is round 1 in Plakoto Backgammon. There are 5 rounds, and the way it works is that we're always going to see people who are undefeated potentially. So at the end of this match, one of these players will have won, and they'll play someone else. I think he's going to do what I just said, yeah. They're going to play someone else who has won as well. So basically, we're going to keep seeing the leading 2 players.
No, they're both there.
Yeah.
Just going crazy.
We can see our player Charlotte on the left, Peter on the right. I think Peter's got the lead in this. And there is no doubling cube because it's best of 1. There's no doubling cube, which, in my opinion, generally, the doubling cube adds that extra level of backgammon that becomes, that elevates that skill level. Not only do you have to play the game well, but you have to know when to double and then when to accept and reject a double as well. keep them safe.
Yeah.
We've got Tim in the room with us. Tim's playing in this event today. Did you win your first match, Tim?
Yes, I did.
He did, so we might see Tim on this table in future matches. Tim is doing loads of events this week, aren't you, Tim?
Yes.
He keeps playing. So we might see Tim on stream in a bit.
In this late game portion, how much are the players at the mercy of their dice rolls, or like obviously it's a combination between what they've built up and where the positions they've taken, but can you really be
Done in.
by a bad dice roll?
If your position's good, there are fewer bad dice rolls. That's the way to look at it. And
Yeah.
so in backgammon, you can have a really strong position and your opponent can have a really weak one, and then 2 or 3 rolls go in their favour and against yours, and things can change. But generally, you effectively, a better player will have more luck because they will give themselves more opportunities for them to cater for bad rolls and stuff like that. So it might look like they just get away with it, but it's really because they control more points or stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, saying that, when it gets to that race position at the end, when both players are bearing off and there's no way to pin anyone else or in regular backgammon hit, it's if you can roll that, want that extra double or two, which is a bit of luck. Obviously, only 1 in 6 times we roll a double. You get those extra moves and you get to bear more off quickly. So you might be able to edge the race where you are equal or slightly behind. Might have to find out for you, but I suppose, Ryan, you don't know why it's not being timed.
I was wondering that at the start. Every event I've seen so far has been timed, but I am not too sure.
Yeah, all the 2-player events I've seen have been timed, I think.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you know, Tim?
Well, I mean, it's traditional that it's such a simple game. It's not like it's overrun, so you don't really need a timer.
Okay. So Tim said, if you didn't hear, he said it's such a simple game, it's not likely to overrun, so you don't need the timer. The timer is more like just to keep the game on pace, on track. So this is fine for Tim. He can move 2 off 14, 1 to 13 and 1 to 10, which is what he's doing. Again, he's ahead.
Move, yeah.
He's ahead. Charlotte's eventually going to have to move, either unfree his 1 on point 8, and then he can move it off and get it safe, or she's going to have to move these 2. And the reason she has to do that, if she ever rolls a 4 or more, that 4 has to come from some of the pieces she's got left in.
Yeah.
So she's rolled a 4-2, which is bad, because not only she got to move that off, she can't move the other one of the 2 off.
Yep. So she
yeah.
only gets to move one.
So
one piece.
if Tim can pin this, which he can't, but if he could have pinned it, he would have had another one of Charlotte's pieces pinned,
Yeah.
and again he would have left that right to the end. She would then have 2 pieces to get back round.
Yeah.
The fact is, if she can get the next one safe, she might only have 1 piece left at the end of the game, and then it might be a race, and if she can roll enough doubles,
Yeah.
she might have a chance at catching up. But even though Charlotte's currently ahead in terms of where her pieces are, she's behind because one of them's pinned.
Mm-hmm.
She can get this one safe now, and she almost certainly should. So she moved that 3. Or she could move it, yeah. Yeah. And now
Okay.
the other one, she also wants to leave the other one that's not in her home territory safe, like not in, because if she ever rolls a 6, she wants to be able to move the 1 on point 8.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't want to roll like a 2 and a 1 and move that in, because then if she rolls a 6, she'll have to unpin Peter's piece.
Right. Okay. So she's
So in this
very
one,
specifically.
yeah, sadly she's going to have to move it in now. Yeah.
No, she'll be forced probably in her next move
To unpin Peter's
yeah.
piece. But she's only got 1 of hers pinned.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peter's going to spend the rest of the game moving, because she's like way ahead in terms of how far her overall pieces are from her end point.
Yeah.
She's way ahead.
She's ready to bear off. It's
Yeah.
just getting those 2
Yeah.
pieces.
And then she'll have to move this one. Oh, not with the double one. She could keep it there one more turn. And some people might argue with this, but you can stack as many pieces on a point as you want. Some people say, well, hang on, why are the points only 5 long? I've had people say that against me. Yeah, you can't have more than 5 on a point. But you almost, believe me, you almost certainly can.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as long as I don't think much Charlotte can do. Even if she pins and learns Tim's pieces, she sadly has to move this one out of the way now.
Yeah.
You have to move your full movement. So what she can't do here is move a 1 on point 22 and then not move the 4, because she can move both numbers. So you have have to move the full allowance. So you have to move 1 first, then 4, which is what Peter's pointing out.
Yeah.
She can't move the 1 elsewhere. She has to move this one off.
Joseph.
I think they're just verifying that, but that's right, isn't it?
So she's going to move it.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
No.
So
That one will have to move.
yeah, the one. So this piece, because she can move. If she picks the right space, if she picks the right space, they're just telling she has to do that now. So if you ever roll a dice, you have to move as many of it as possible. Even if it's not a piece you want to move, you have to allocate as many pips as possible, and that might be moving pieces that are not necessarily advantageous to you. So now it's going to be a race. Peter's going to move his pieces as close to the end as he can.
Yep.
And then the very last thing he's going to do is bear off some of the ones on 6.
Yeah. So what we might see is that Charlotte won't be able to make any moves because it'll just be that last one pinned on point 6.
So 1, 2, and he gets 4 threes. Remember, if he's rolled 2 threes, he gets a third and a 4th. And he's just going to...
Agonizingly.
She gets a double 5 and she can move.
Wouldn't it be better for those pieces on the 4 to be moved to the 1?
I agree. So Tim mentioned that when Peter rolled a double 3, he should have moved the ones in the home area nearer to 1.
Yeah.
Because now the problem is every time he rolls a 6, he has to bear off, so he might not be able to move them closer. He's just going to outrace her. That's what he's playing. So we'll see. I mean, I imagine he's way favoured.
It's way favored 99% to win anyway. But
I think it's potentially higher than 90%. Tim thinks he's about 90% to win. I think
no,
it's...
I said greater than 99.
Okay, we're greater than 99, so yeah. It's going to get to a point where it's mathematically impossible for Charlotte to win. She keeps rolling because she can still move a 1 and a 2.
Peter's winning. Yeah, Peter will win.
Peter will win, you hear, she says.
Yeah.
There's the 1. And then... If they were playing for money...
It's a definite
or points or something, Charlotte could potentially get what's called gammoned, and that's where Peter wins without getting any of the pieces off the board.
Yeah, so Charlotte has not been able to bear off any pieces, so...
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, so if Peter rolls a 6 now, Charlotte can start moving. He didn't. He gets even worse at a double 2. Yeah.
all my doubles in him.
Right, so he has to move the 6.
The only roll that would have got it was a double.
No, 1 doesn't get him in. I think he's cheated there.
He rolls double 3s. Foolishly.
I don't think it matters, but I think he miscounted that one there. It wouldn't have mattered. He would have got them both in anyway. So that would be what's called a gammon. There were 3 ways to get points in regular backgammon, but in this, because it's just best of 1, that just goes down as a win for Peter. So what you'll see in this game is it essential not to get pinned in your home territory.
Yeah, that was, I'd love to have seen the move that had orchestrated that from Peter. I imagine it was a double because it was pretty early in the game, and so he was able to move his piece in.
He's got pretty far around, yeah. So you've got to play. I mean, I haven't played this enough, but you've got to not only kind of give yourself enough scope to get out and not get pinned yourself, but you've got to threaten to pin them. So if they're not careful, things like that can happen. And if you do pin them in a home territory, and they can't force you to unpin it by pinning you back in lots of other places, you're going to find yourself in some pretty bad spots.
So would you say that some of the key principles of Plakoto is making sure that your pieces, if and when they can, move in pairs, and
Yeah.
if you're taking them off your first point, to move them within the first 6. If it's only one of them, and you're not moving them by doubles. Yeah.
I think initially you've got to be quite aggressive and try and get a few points with single spaces, and then try and double them up later to give you safer bets to get out. I think that's very important. I actually think it flips what regular backgammon is. So regular backgammon, if I want to get a piece hit, if I'm willing to take a risk and get a piece hit, I want a piece that's furthest from my home territory to get hit.
Yeah.
Because that has the fewest spaces to kind of gain back. So if they take a piece on the 24, then if they capture it, I'm like, fine, I've only lost one space because it only takes me one space to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
I lose a dice, but I only lose one space. Where now, if you get pinned in your home territory, you've not just lost spaces, you've just lost so much time, and you'll see what will happen throughout the course of this event. How often? I wonder how often you actually get pinned in your home territory. I wonder if we're going to see this in many more games.
First game, we've seen it already. I think it's likely we'll see it once more.
Okay. I didn't, in the practice games I didn't pin anyone in their home territories, but I did pin someone in the second quarter. And I did that, and I ended up winning. So
it's a pretty advantageous spot to be in.
But like you say, it's not just about pinning. It's also about kind of keeping as many doubles as you can, keeping lots of options open so you can get to more points and control more points. So you can see the setup there. They are putting 15 pieces all on the same point, so it's different to regular backgammon. And from there, they off and away. I assume the best opening move is a double 6.
Yeah.
Which will get you... that would be really bad, because then it would be really easy to catch your opponent's pieces in the opening territory.
Yeah.
So they roll one dice each. We're on the next round here. They roll one dice each, and whoever rolls the highest gets the first go. So in this particular case, the bottom player got the first go, and they get a 3-2. So they're going to... Apologies, they forgot what colour they were. So they're spreading around. They're not in danger of being caught initially. And what they're trying to do, they're trying to protect those points again. So whether we see the white player move the full 7 or just a 5 and 2, I generally imagine you'd split it, and you try and get as many points in your own territory safe as you can.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get all 15 out.
It's interesting in the last game seeing how a lot of the points were filled, and as in there's always 2 points. You know, somebody had control of some of the points, especially in the second quarters or quadrants. But in the games that I've played against AI, it's always been so. So 1 point has 10 checkers on it, and it's not great play from me.
When I'm playing normal backgammon, that feels like bad. It feels like if I've got lots of places on 1 point, I'm not making it difficult for my opponent.
Yeah.
I'm making it hard for myself. I've got fewer spaces to go safely.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not blocking any movement at all.
The only time where I've seen examples of it in this game is when you've got a lot on 1 point. Is when you've got a lot on 1 point and their pieces at the bottom of it.
Yep.
So where you've pinned their piece and you've got 5 pieces on top of it. Well,
yeah.
That ain't moving for a while.
No.
So we've got Peter Horlock as black in this case, and he is again this time he is playing at the bottom of our board, and he is going so he's going clockwise round to get in the home place. And we've got Ettenifeld. He is the organizer of the Mind Sports Olympiad, so nice to see you, Etten. Hope you do well. Please don't fire me. So this is Peter. He's got a double 3, which is not actually the best double he wanted. He would have taken any other double over double 3, because the problem with the double 3, he can move them all onto point 3, but he'd really like to get a point in the second quadrant safe. And the problem is, that doesn't work, Peter.
Okay.
That's too many. Peter, that's too many. That's not double 3. That's double 6 he's moved.
Yes, because he's moved 2 pieces.
Yeah, so I think Peter has again miscounted, and Etten's let him off with it. Okay, I don't know if we can retract that from the commentary box, but that shouldn't have been allowed. don't know, should I go and say something?
Maybe. Is there a possibility? Because it was double threes.
Yeah. Because he's got a big advantage from it. I might have to go and say something. Yeah,
Potentially,
okay.
yeah.
I'm going to go on.
So while Steve is going to say about this, I don't know how far back that they can retract movements or turn back time, as it were.
Sorry.
I don't know what you need
Oh,
to do.
no. So they should be here.
They should be there.
That's okay. I'm happy with the fix. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you could put 4 here if you want to.
No, it's done. It's done. That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Thank you. That's a little bit embarrassing.
Did you do an illegal move?
He did. He loses. I get a minute on the clock. Yeah.
So that's all sorted. Good job, Steve.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. That's cool. It wasn't me. I didn't spot that.
Apologies to Peter there if he watches this later and he vows revenge on me. I'm so sorry, sir, but I felt I had to at least mention it as to see whether it was you have to abide by that or not.
So they didn't have to turn back time on their turns. They just moved those two.
I don't know what the rules are. Eton moved them back. I offered Peter the possibility of putting 4 on point 3, and he declined, I think so.
Okay.
I am not the arbiter. I just thought I'd point out a mistake, given
Yeah.
we've got it on film. It's a long day, so I'm tired. I don't know about you. I'm quite tired. We've commentated all day. I can't imagine what sort of mental strain you'd have if you were playing in some of these games all day.
You've mentioned that Ankush. He plays constantly. He's on almost every tournament. The stamina to be able to do that and the mental strength is quite impressive.
So we can say Peter again. He's on the left, and Etten Ilfeld is on the right. He is the organizer. He's the guy who sorted out the streaming, so we thank him for doing that. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and if you want to come to the Mind Sports Olympiad and you see Etten, let him know how good a job he's doing, because it really is a fantastic event. So that's a safe roll from Peter. He can show up with the 4. No, actually that's possibly better move than I spotted.
Yeah.
Now the fact that this is a good move in the way that Etten can't leave many single pieces within 6 of that.
Yes.
Beyond 6, Peter would have to roll exactly right, but exactly 6. So within the points 8 through 12, any of those have a single piece in it. Peter might have the opportunity to pin it. And like we saw last time, the further around you can pin a piece, the better you do.
Yeah.
Do you think then we'll see anyone pin on point 1 today?
I hope so. I've heard it's called the mother checker.
Ooh.
So it's a perfect name for it. So
this is a good move again. This is Etten doing the same. So Etten also, it's now getting to the point where there are fewer safer spots. Now any spot within 6 of their opponents leaves them. I can't remember the exact percentages of the time they will catch you there, but within 6 it's much higher than beyond 6. So although you can roll a 7 is the most frequent thing on a dice. You have to roll 2 specific dice to get there. But if I'm 5 away, you could roll a single 5 on either dice, or a 4 and a 1, or a 3 and a 2, either way round.
So particularly in Plakoto, you want to be just outside of 6 if you can.
If you're doing single pieces,
Yeah.
Generally you don't want single pieces, but if you have to do a single piece, you don't want it to be within 6 of your opponent.
Interesting.
Actually, but if you are going to be within 6, you want to be within 1.
Yeah.
Because then they can't roll a 1 on 2 dice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's only one way for them to get you, and that's going to be 11 in 36. It's just under a third of the time they'll get you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sorry. You don't remember what I used to teach?
Yes, I was about to say, this is your math teacher coming out.
So Yeah. So this is so like we were talking earlier. You don't really want lots on one point. So this is good for Etten. Double 3 allows him to. Actually, it's not that good. He can't actually gain an. Oh, he can gain an extra point. He can move 2 off the 4, 6 spaces. I think that's what he had his hands on.
So we'll put them on points.
Oh, that doesn't help either, does it? It doesn't help because it puts it on point
Yeah.
10. So I don't think you can actually gain an extra. What you'd like to do is gain an extra point, another point you control.
Yep.
So you can move one of those points around a bit, but he can't gain an extra point, and he can't even move. So he's just going to move these 2 6.
Oh,
He's going to move them 3 and maybe 2 off point 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 1 and a 3. If you're Peter, do you move off his first point just to protect anything that's moving off, say point 18? Because it would be within 6 of Etten's.
Yeah, you can't move off point 18. I think you have to move off point 1. It's whether you move
Yeah.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
I imagine he moves 1 because moving off 2 is riskier. Although, give me a sec. If you move the 3, it's within 11. So if you move 3 off point 1, it's 11 away from Etten can catch you. So if Etten rolls an 11 or a 12.
Or a 5, yeah.
But if you move, so it keeps things safe. I might have risked moving off. I think he's in danger of being caught in his home territory because he's still got 6 or 7 pieces on. I think he's still got 7 pieces on his home space.
Yes.
And you want to start moving them off while Etten's outside of the range. So if Etten's like 11 or 12 away, that's really hard for him to actually catch them.
Yeah.
But if Etten becomes like 8 away, well, that's a much more frequent roll.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have to move off his home territory now. He can't move the 5. He can't move the 5 on point 14.
Yeah.
And he's going to move. Yeah. So he could get pinned there.
It's not a great place to be pinned.
11. He does not get pinned with 11.
No, that's the 11 we were talking about. If he'd moved.
Yeah. So I guess he was lucky.
Yeah.
You can't get pinned off 11 because 11 Etten would have to have 1 on point 6. Again, just to let you know, I'm going to turn to our screen at the back. So when we're talking about points, we're talking about the points on here. So point 1 is where this player starts. So in this particular case, from Peter's point of view, point 1 is where Etten's starting, but it goes point 1 through point 12, point 13 through point 24. So when we're talking about different points, things, if you've just tuned in or if you've not played backgammon before, that's what we're talking about. So when we're talking about moving things off certain points, it's an easy way for us to describe where the pieces are. So just for future reference, if you've got any questions as you're watching, I know when we had Abalone, we had loads of questions and we answered as many as we had time for. If you've got any questions about backgammon, the Plakoto version of it, backgammon generally, talking about the doubling cube, which we will be meeting tomorrow when we do regular backgammon in the morning. Any questions like that, please do answer it. Our tech crew will get those to us and we will answer them as best as we can on air. We'll even say your name because we're that nice.
Yep. It's the best feeling.
Right, so now Etten is within 11 of Peter's home space. So Peter's still got 6 pieces on his home space. He's got to roll a lot of 6s to get those out because he's got no safe spaces. What he'd really want is something like a double 4 or something, or a double 5, just to get a few of them onto the 5 spot and gives him more shots to get out.
Yep. He's got a lot of pieces on point 14 just waiting there.
Yeah. No one's been caught yet. So currently, it's just a straight race, I think. I think it's about even in terms of how far they've each moved. This is this Etten, is it, who's thinking?
Oh, I thought it was Peter.
It might be. Oh yes, because Etten's... No, Peter just rolled a 5 and a 1, I think.
Okay.
I think it's Etten's rolled a 6 and a 4. So I think... I don't know, what would you do? I think I might move them both off point 1, move a 6 and a 4 off point 1. The 6 would go safe and the 4 would go 8 away from Peter. That would
8
be
away
risky
is...
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's 8 away, but you can't roll a double 4 because Etten's got the point blocked. He's got point 4 blocks, so he's moving 6. So if you move from point 1, 6 and a 4, the 6 would go there and the 4 would go there, and it's 8 away. But you can't roll a double 4 because the 4 would land on there, so you're only going to get 4 combinations of numbers that would get him.
Oh,
36,
okay.
Which is 1 in 9.
Oh, okay. Would that give you the comfort to play that?
I would do. I'm quite an aggressive player, though. I think that's an attacking move because you're getting things off point 1. You're trying to get things safe. The issue is any other roll with the 6 and the 4, the other it would potentially leaves something with a higher frequency of getting pinned. You definitely don't get pinned in your home territory, but whatever Etten moves here, I believe he's going to get something pinned. So the other option he's got is to move the one on point 4 to point... Oh, no, you can't do it. So you can't move the one off point 4 twice. He can't put anything safe. From point 4, you can move it to point 6, and you can move 4 here. But whatever happens, I think you're going to have to leave something unprotected. And anything else you leave gives your opponent a higher frequency of getting it.
Yep.
For example, if you left... if you put one from point 1 on point 7...
Yep.
Which is what he's done, I think she'll move the other one. I think that's the correct move.
Yep.
Because if you moved another one from point 7 to here, to point 11, Peter's got 3 different spaces he can try and land on point 11 on, which are much higher frequency of getting particular things.
Yeah. Plus, Etten has now avoided the mother checker.
Yeah.
So.
But now Etten can potentially, he's got more things to kind of make this safe. So the 5-2, he can get it safe now. So if he moves the one on point 4-5 and the one on point 5-2, he gets them both safe. Or the other way around, he could move either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an aggressive move because if he catches you, you're in such a bad spot.
Yeah.
But anything else, he's going to catch you much easier. And we saw you just don't want to get pinned in this game.
Yeah. We saw that devastating effect with Charlotte, wasn't it?
Correct. But now Etten's one roll away from emptying his home territory, his initial starting territory.
Yeah.
Peter can move the 6, so he's fine with the 6, but the 3 is awkward for him. So what he could do, and I think this is what he might do, he might move the whole 9 from point 14 and land in Etten's home territory. And there's no value for Etten in pinning that.
Because it's so close, and he's going to be moving that as much as possible.
I think that's possibly what I do, because there's a gap here, so 6 would move you to here. No, he's just trying to get out of his own home territory. I think that's potentially a mistake, because now he's got to leave a potential pinning opportunity.
Which one would you move?
I would, if I'm going to get pinned, I want to get pinned nearer to their home territory. So that would be the one I move. If I'm going to leave something potentially pinning, so Etten will cover that with a 1 and move. In fact, I think he's going to move both of those from point 7. So point 7 to point 11 will get it. Yeah, so he's pinned him. I think that was a mistake from Peter. I would have probably moved. You could have moved 9 from point 14 to point 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is bad because now to get Peter's still got, I believe, if we can count his pieces, 2. I think he's still got 2 on point 1. I think that's a 2 high piece.
Oh, right, okay.
It's definitely not a 1 piece. He would not leave 1 piece there.
No.
I think he's got 2 there, and the problem is to get both of them out in the same turn, he's going to need either a double. That's it. He's going to need a double. He needs a double 6. That's. And just needs a 6 now. He's got it.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Well, no, he's caught. He's caught that piece.
Yep.
He should do it. I mean, it's such a big strength. He's already caught another piece. I think this is advantage Etten now.
Absolutely.
He's thinking about it. Yeah, he's going to do it. So that's fine. So Etton's now got... I think he was ahead anyway because he had more points covered. He had a piece of Peter's pinned. But now he's got a huge advantage, I think. And unfortunately, Peter can't pin him back with that roll. Oh, on a 6, he's just awful. It's not going Peter's way.
No.
He can now move the 9, though. He's got another 6 and a 3. He can move the 9 that we suggested earlier. I don't know if you agree with that. You can see Etton's smiling slightly there. I think he's happy with how it's gone.
Yeah. How do you feel of this being a best of one tournament for each round? In terms of, say, for Peter, his luck can kind of turn a bit sour this time. Like, Etton has played well in moving his pieces out of his home quadrant and moving them in 2s. But how do you feel about it being a best of one?
I think it's fine. I think the matches, especially if you're going to do it as a one-session tournament, I think the matches are long enough that you get, that it feels like several matches fills the length of the tournament.
Yeah, I suppose it is Swiss brackets, so you're...
I think, personally, whenever you're doing more than a best of one, you have to have a doubling cube. And I don't know if I want a doubling cube in this because it seems to swing so much on if and when you get captured.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that either. I'm sorry, Peter. So he's going to get pinned again. He's going to get pinned twice here. There's one pin. Okay, and then he might not pin this one too. Yeah, he might not pin this one. Yes, he can because then he can move from 0.7 to... Yeah. So, if you're talking about percentages, and Tim, welcome back, Tim. He's in the room. If you're talking about percentages, would you say this is above 90% in favour of white? He's got 4 things pinned, and black has nothing pinned.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So Tim's in agreement with me. Tim, did you win again, Tim?
No, I didn't. I just was lost after about 3 rolls.
Oh, he lost after about 3 rolls. He said, "You get pinned early, did you?"
Yes.
Okay.
And my opponent was so dominant that they managed to have a block of 6 where I had.
Oh dear.
I literally couldn't move for double 5.
Okay. Couldn't move for double 5.
Or
So.
double 6.
So that's another one pin. So I imagine Etton would have to do pretty poorly to do for me. And this is why I don't think a double cube would work, because it feels like it's even. I'm pinned, I'm way ahead. And the way the doubling cube is, it's worked best on slight advantages. And if you can pick when the slight advantage is a certain percentage in your favour and do it, and they have that opportunity to reject or accept or reject, there's loads of skill within doubling cube. But obviously the doubling cube is when you're playing for more points, when you're playing first to 5 points or something like that. So I don't think they need a doubling cube in this because, I think it doesn't need to be more than best of one.
Okay.
Because I don't think a doubling cube would suit this version of backgammon.
Okay.
But I might be wrong. I'm not a massive backgammon player.
When you're playing to 1 point, anyone can win.
No, okay.
Yeah, and it encourages other people to enter the event, because if you're playing to 1 point, anyone can win. So I could come into this event, and I know enough about backgammon to kind of give it a go, I think, and I take my risks. And I know I could enter this event and potentially win against even potentially much better players than me, because when you're playing first to 5 or something with a doubling cube, that's all those extra matches and extra doubles and things. You give the better player an edge. Okay, and so but you need to play over a certain length of time. It's a bit like playing poker against a world champion. You can win any given hand, but if you play a long enough amount of time with a large enough bankroll and stuff, you'll lose in the long run against someone
That's
better.
an interesting analogy to make.
Another consideration of this event is mentally light compared to say a chess or a go, or mental calculations. So you don't want to tire yourself out by playing a lot of heavy events. It affects your performance in tough events down the line.
All right, so Peter's rolled double 6. That was his only option, I'm afraid. He's only got, before that, he only had 2 spots that weren't pinned in.
Ethan has covered points 8 through 11 there, so it's difficult for Peter to move in that second quadrant, or that third quadrant.
The issue is, even if Peter captures one of Etton's or pins it, Etton will just move all the other ones in. Peter will move his, and then he'll just have 5 pieces stuck, and he'll have to move his off first.
Yeah.
But because it's that sort of race situation, I think we're going to see a similar ending to the last game we saw with Peter and Charlotte. I imagine it's going to kind of towards the end of the game, it's going to look very similar. Peter's going to have all but the pinned ones in his home territory, in the ends territory. And then Etton's going to do something very similar, remove one at a time and let Peter move the odd piece every now and again. 6-3. So you can move the one off point 9 to point 17. Apologies, that doesn't work, does it? That's Peter's go as well. Oh dear, Steve. Yeah, I mean, he had to move the 6. So 6 was a bad roll for me. He had to move the 6. He's almost certainly going to get another one pinned here, and he has. He's got, in fact, 2 pinned. So Peter's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pinned to Etton's none. Now, any high roll Peter gets, he's got to move. He's got to move every 6 he's got off that stack on point 14. Double 2. I think he's just going to spread a few things out now. Unless Etton plays tactically incorrect, I cannot see him losing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No. Is that legal? No. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was here. I was here or here?
No, that's right. He's done it
Adjust
right.
the camera.
I thought you just went to there and saw.
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Yes, it's good.
Yes. If it wasn't, we'd run in screaming.
Not again.
If you missed that earlier, right near the start, someone miscounted how many spaces they can move with a double by quite a lot. So we had to go in and correct them. So
I feel like you've thrown the game for Peter with that in the middle. He's just
yeah,
had rotten luck
apologise.
ever since.
The problem is he had such an advantage in moving them where he did that it probably wasn't fair.
Yeah.
If he'd missed by a point, like 1 space, I might not have mattered. But
Sure.
double 1, we can't do anything else. So. Is that another double 2, is it? Yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah.
For
And Peter can't. Why did Peter not go?
because
He can move a 6. Oh no, he can't.
No, he can't
move a 6.
No, I can't. I was just
Oh,
looking
he's
at
dead,
point
absolutely
14.
dead. Yeah,
He can't even.
can't move him now.
So he's waiting for Etan to move off point
Yeah,
8.
I mean,
is it?
Etton should possibly move off point 8 soon, and let Peter trickle a few of his pieces past. I mean, you can just move that 6 and 3. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. He doesn't need to. Yeah. And it's still Etton. Yeah. I think you just gradually move them off, and one at a time, just move them off. You just don't want to get pinned back, so you've just got to move them off in such a way you don't get pinned back. So if he moves off point 8, let him move point 8 away.
Yep.
And then he moves off point 9.
So just one by
Slowly,
one,
yeah,
you would go
slowly,
from
slowly, yeah.
the earliest, or not the earliest, but from 8, 9, 10. You would go first, yeah.
So he's rolled 4 and a 3. I mean, you could just, that's possibly better move actually. 4 and then 3, move them both. And then now Peter can roll a 5 and get out, but only one at a time. So he can move a 5 and a 2. And he can move that piece until he gets to the end, and then he can only move 5s and 2s. And now Etton's got 2 spare pieces. He's got the point on 12 and 13.
Yep.
The spare pieces that you can just move in. So the one on point 12, I imagine he moves to point 21, which he has done. In a sec. Nope. Yeah. Again, I don't think. Oh, 3. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure it matters. Again, so he has to move the 6, and he can't move the 2.
So this is 6 on point 7.
Yeah. 6 on point 7 to the end, and he can't move the 2. So if you've just tuned in or you haven't watched the explanation at the start, this is backgammon Plakoto, as you can see in the title. It's a version of backgammon where you pin your opponent rather than hitting them. If you pin them, they can't repin you, and they can't move that piece until you've moved off it. And you can pin them with as many pieces as you like. If you look at point 19 on the board, Peter has been pinned quite severely most of the game. He's still got 7 pieces pinned. But it's like regular backgammon, you still have to bear off as normal. And it is just best of 1, so there's no double and cube. And we're going to play 5 matches. This is match 2 with Etten Ilfeld leading by a fair way here. High percentage chance to win, like stupidly high. And Peter, he just hasn't had as many points covered as Etten. He's got pinned at pretty much every opportunity he had.
With almost this amount of certainty that Etan is such a better position, you know, he's most definitely going to win. At what point do you think, because there's an interesting difference, say, in single player video games when they're played competitively, if you're at that point of certainty, even if you could play for another half an hour, you know, if GG comes up in the chat and the game is forfeited. At what point do you think that could be the case here, or is it just a point of...
Mathematically, he's not certain to win.
Okay.
What could happen? What could happen is Etten could have everything in his home territory with 4 on Peter's, and Etten rolls a double 5 or double something, and he has to move, well, double 6, and he has to move all 4 off.
Yep.
And then Etten just rolls badly after that. Peter rolls all doubles, and technically, mathematically, Peter can still win.
Yeah.
The more Etten has on that point at the top,
the
the worse it becomes.
Yeah.
I would have conceded. I would have conceded a long time ago if I was playing. I just need to have the point, and just so I can get another game.
Yeah.
This, like personally, I wouldn't do. But this is a tournament, and I can. While there's still a mathematical chance to win, you probably shouldn't give up in a tournament situation.
Sure.
But yeah, if we were playing heads up, I'd like, right, you've got this one. Let's try it. After this match, we're going to have a look at the Pentamind standings. Now, if you haven't done, if you have joined us for the first time this year, the Mind Sports Olympiad has over 70 events, but the overarching event for a lot of people is the Pentamind standings, which is the best player across a whole scope of events. So you've got to have at least one abstract game, at least one classic game, at least one Euro game, and you've got to have games of different lengths and different calibers. So we're going to have a look at that at the end and see what the current standings are. The top 10 is filled with Estonians, but there are some other people in there, and we're looking at previous winners and see how they're doing. So if you want to see that, you can check the Mind Sports Olympiad webpage, or you can wait until the end of this match where we're going to have a brief look. I think this is the last match going, so it will be a very brief look, because I imagine when this is finished, the next match will be called, and we'll get to see round 3. And we're also going to try and get you some results from this, so we can see a list of the players who are still doing well in this event. Every event in the Mind Sports Olympiad has 3 medals available, a gold, silver and a bronze, and occasionally prizes for juniors as well. I'm not sure there are any juniors in this field today, so I'm not sure that will apply. But we'll have a look at who's doing well and who potentially we get to see in match 3 in a second as well.
I believe there's at least one junior with this widely misestimate someone's age. I think there's at least one junior.
If it's the Chinese girl, she's at university.
Possibly I'm not.
Yeah, if it's a Chinese girl you're talking about, I think she's at uni.
By the way, my understanding of Pentamind is that you're not allowed more than 3 Euro games, but there isn't a restriction unless they've changed the rules on the number of abstract games.
Okay.
In fact, Andrus used all his abstract. His Pentamind score last year was made up of all abstract games.
Okay.
All right, Etten is way ahead. He's going to get to the point where he's going to be bearing off soon, I think, and he's kept Peter out of the game so much so that Peter hasn't even got the majority of his remaining pieces in his home territory, in the end territory yet. So if he's got double 4, that should help him catch up a bit. I still think it's 90% 99% that Etton's going to win. He's been so far ahead the whole game, and Peter's still got. Etton's not only ahead on tactical position, he's ahead on pips, I think, as well, because Peter had so many goes in a row where he couldn't move.
Yeah. So just one more to get in there.
Yeah. So double 1 doesn't really matter. I mean, there might be tactical advantages to putting more of your things in home territory slightly, but
Yeah.
yeah. So he has to move that all 7, I think. Oh no, you're correct. He beat me to it. So he's starting to bear off. Mathematically, it's possible that Peter could win. I'd have to roll. Etton would have to roll a double 6. Double 5's good actually for Peter, because Etton has to move them off this point. That's what Peter wants. 1, 2, 3. So if Etton rolls a double 6 next time, or a 6 and a 5, 6 and a 5 would be the best roll actually. If he rolls a 6 and a 5, he has to free the point. And then Etton needs to roll nothing but 2s and 1s for the rest of the game. And then Peter could. That's probably not good enough.
I was getting to stage where that's probably not. It's not even possible with.
Yeah.
With optimal rolls to Peter. And
Yeah, I think Etton needed to roll a 6 and a 5 on that turn for Peter to have a mathematical chance. Peter's wasting his doubles. Yeah, so he's got them all in. So Etton needs 6 and a 5, and then Peter needs double 6s for the rest of the game. Yeah, well, he's at a 5, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. Can't move the 6, I'm afraid, Peter. So you just have to move the 1. And I think probably now it's mathematically. It's now mathematically certain. So I think Peter, I'd probably concede at this point. I think it's mathematically impossible for Peter to win here. I haven't got the time to do the maths behind it, but
I was just about to ask about the maths, because that's quite interesting.
I think so. I think, yeah. So the problem is, what you want for Etton to fail, Etton can't fail to get things off now.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
He can
because
get 2 and 1s forever, and he's out in 3 turns still.
yeah.
And 2 and 1's the worst roll you can get when you're bearing off. So.
Yeah.
Although Peter got the double 6.
Oh.
So he didn't get gammoned. Well, it didn't matter. I mean, yeah, Peter can't get him 4, so he should just concede now, I think.
To the bitter end.
It's playing to the end. There's a 6 and a 4. He's going to try and get as many pieces off as he can.
Yeah.
No, it's game. Okay, so that's the end of round 2. We're going to come back to you with the Pentiment scores now. The overall Pentiment champion. You can see all the other games behind them finished. That took the longest because Peter passed so many turns, I think. We can see here, we're just looking at the top 10 or so. If you want the full list on the webpage, if you look down at position 80, you'll see me. We can see Andres Kusk hasn't changed since we looked at earlier. Martin Herbermargi has caught up, though. He must have had another event gone in there. I think he must have had the pot limit 7-card stud, I believe, which is gets him 92.86. And we were looking earlier, so to win the whole event, you need to score probably about somewhere over 480, potentially higher than that, depending on how well other people are doing. If you're looking at 3 players who do pretty well at the moment, you're looking at Andres Kusk and Martin Herbermargi, who have both got 4 scores of 90 or above, although Andres has got that score of 100, which is gets him like 10 points better off than Martin overall, and that score of 100 is hard to get. You're also looking at, I'll just let you know, Andres Kusk, if you weren't aware, he won it 4 times. Not for a few years now, but he came 3rd last year and 2nd the year before, so he's won it 4 times overall. Martin Herbermargi came 2nd last year. Matthew Hathwell is placed before. He's doing pretty well. Given the arbits, that's pretty good. Then you've got some more Estonians. We've got George Tomkin and Kuno Kolk, who are Estonian. Ankush Khandelwal, he won it last year, and he's got 2 great scores and 3 not so good ones. If he can get 3 more decent scores, potentially he's up there. So he's up there with Andres and Martin, with the potential to do pretty well. Mark Taste, it was nice to see him again. He loves his abstract games. He can speak so many languages, can Mark. You've got the leading senior, Dario De Toffoli. He won the seniors competition last year. He's up there. I believe he won the Pentamind in 2012. You've got two more people there, Riccardo Gucci, second senior, and Charlotte Levy, who's a lovely person to chat to, and she is, we've seen her in this Plakoto tournament. We're going to go to match 3 now. We'll find out the players involved, and we'll go to our third round of Plakoto. We're also going to try and get you the standings of the event.
Do you know where I am in the Pentamind?
I don't know where you are in the Pentamind, Tim. Sorry, it's on this. I can't see it. It's on the screen. It only goes down to top 10. Apologies. Tim's about to start round 3. I think they're ready for you, Tim. So good luck. I hope to see you at table 1 at some point today. And we're going to go back when we can.
So do you know at what age you qualify to be included in the seniors Pentamind, and what?
I imagine so. It's somewhere over 50. I imagine.
Okay.
I don't know exactly. 55 possibly. For bridge, it used to be 55. I know Dario is a senior, but I think Paco might be a senior as well. I'm not sure that counts. Whether Paco is a senior or not. I think it might be over 60. It's over 55 or over 60, or there or thereabouts, I believe.
I imagine just like the juniors, you can place. You can get a medal in the juniors, but also in the regular.
Yeah. So there are medals at the end for the leading juniors, top 3, the leading seniors, top 3, the leading women, top 3. I think Charlotte's abstained from that, but she's doing very well anyway. I don't know why she would. And the leading overall, which is what a lot of people come here for.
Yeah.
Those are the people who play every event.
Yeah. They've taken a whole week off work and dedicate themselves to it. The stamina, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's hard. I played for a day yesterday. I was knackered by the end of it. I was doing well, and then I went.
So you could see, kind of. Could you observe yourself playing worse at the end of the day, or was it general fatigue got to you, or?
I was playing Boku. I made one big mistake, and that was the second event of the day. And then I played Liar's Dice. Started off well, was joint second after the halfway point, and then finished 15th or something. I don't know. I feel like I got done in a bit, rolled badly, made some poor calls, poor challenges. But it's not a game I was aiming to win. I think what I'd need to do to see myself getting tired is I need to play something that needs concentration. Just Liar's Dice doesn't. You just go, yeah, whatever. 18 threes. So we're setting up there. They are going to start to be awkward from the opposite side. So we're now going to change the way our numbering system works. We'll let you know exactly how that changes. Our cameraman is changing the overhead camera a bit, just so we can catch everything. So thank you very much, cameraman. But this is round 3 of 5. Again, every event carries the same gold, silver, and bronze medals. They're quite nice, actually. If you've seen them.
I don't think I'll get close to a medal.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can look at them.
That's it.
But yeah, Plakoto has been here for a few years now. I think it's the 3rd or 4th year it's been running. I'm just going to let you know how people have done in the past. Got a little magic book here.
Your book of secrets.
So this is the 4th year it's been running. Charlotte Levy actually won this last year, so well done, Charlotte. Etten came 3rd, so we've seen Etten. Charlotte's also came 3rd the previous 2 years, so is an event she's done well at. James Heppel's won this before, but I'm not sure he's playing. I don't know if I've seen him today. If he's playing, I think he's playing Hare and Tortoise, which is a Premier event. So James Heppel is in running for the Pentamind. Again, he's probably one of the best all-round games players here. I mean, there were some very good all-round games players, but I think his skill set isn't like naturally great at chess and okay at the other stuff. I think he's just generally good across the board.
Right. Okay.
So he's good. Oh, they have gone back to the nice way of doing it. They've gone back to the way we would like.
The commentator-friendly way.
Yeah. Now, looking at the sleeve, I think Etten is going to be white again, and he's going to be in the top of our screen. We're going to try and get you the name of the player at the bottom of the screen. But it looks like they're almost ready to start, so let's zoom in a bit on the action. A bit of a handshake. So I know the man Etten's playing by sight, but I don't know his name. He's an older gentleman. So double one's easy. I think you move 4 on to the next point. Having 3 on a point is better than having 2 on a point. Do you know why?
Because if you're forced to move just one off at that point, then you could get blocked or hit in regular backgammon, yeah.
Yeah, but it also, imagine you roll a 5 and a 6 now.
Mm-hmm.
You can move one off at each point, block a point up, and
yeah.
still leave the point you've left safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want those extra ones. They're your flexibility. Like you say, if you move off it, you're not leaving anything, but you also, not only not leaving anything, you're protecting what you've left.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's still your point.
Mm-hmm.
That's, what did he roll, a 6 and a 4? That's about, Jahanbahi Mahmood. I hope I've said that right. Jahanbahi?
I would have gone with a silent J, but no,
Okay.
maybe it is Jahan.
Jahan.
I usually
If it was Spanish, it would be Jahan.
Jahan. I usually gravitate towards a
Jahan.
Scandinavian J as well, so
Jahan. Mahmood.
that might be
know.
it.
So apologies if I've said your name wrong. And we're going to go around again. Remember, you're trying to pin your opponent as far around as you can. It seems to be the way that's happened both games we've seen so far. We are yet to see a mother checker.
Yes, I'm still living on a prayer for this one.
Now, Etton's been pinned on... This is really bad for him. He's been pinned on point 6, which is pretty poor. And he's rolled another double one. We don't really want that.
No.
But what you really don't want is for the person who's pinned on point 6 to re-pin closer to home.
Oh, that's even worse.
So the fact he's pinned on point 6 meant Etton can never leave a single one on the home point.
Yep.
So double one here. I imagine what I'd do
He'd
is...
move, yeah.
Yeah, and then 2 from 1, and another 1 from 1. I would keep point 3 safe.
Yeah.
And I think I'd move another 2, and then a 1. There's not much Etton can do. He's rolled a double 1. He moved them off. He then rolled a 5 and a 2. He had no choice but to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's been pinned. So there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He might have changed slightly where he moved his 1s, but other than that, he's done nothing wrong.
It's
And
the luck of the draw.
Yeah. So Etton really wants to get to a point to pin.
So
Do you know what I'd do? I'd make an aggressive move here. I would move the same piece 5 and 3. I would move as far around as I can. I think I'd move the one on point 3 to point 11.
Because you have to pin something.
I think I need to pin something back.
Yep.
I don't think I can win otherwise. I think... So I imagine he's going to move the same piece twice. But I would have moved the furthest one round. I know you can get
point
pinned
3,
back.
yeah.
I know you can get pinned back, but I think I might have been...
If you're already pinned on point 6, then you may as well.
I think so. I think you need to pin one as far around as you can back. So 6 and 1, this is good because Etton can save the one he already had.
You wouldn't go even more aggressive then?
No, I wouldn't do that. No, that's just foolhardy. Like, I think Etton's just rolled so low. I think he's just rolled so low. He's rolled 2 double 1s, which is not great.
Yep.
He rolled a 5 and a 2 and a 6 and 1. He's not really rolled like a 6 and a 5 where he can shore up another point. Yeah, that's and then what is that? A 1? Yeah, 3 and a 1. That's fine.
Yep.
That's not right. It's got to be both the black points. So 1. It's a 3 and a 1, isn't it? Or is it 2? No, it's a 3 and a 2. Yeah, it's a 3 and a 2.
Yep.
So there we go. So that's correct. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. The other possibility you can do is get what's called a prime. Do you know what a prime is in backgammon?
I do not know.
A prime is 6 in a row. 6 double points in a row.
Oh, yeah.
So what you want, the other possibility to do, and it's very hard because Ents just roll so low, is to get a prime maybe in the second or third quarter, somewhere around there. So prime somewhere in this section. It's hard now because this is here, but somewhere in this section you get a prime, and that would force your opponent not to be able to get past it.
That's it. It's pretty much what Etan had in the last game.
He did, yes, he did actually at one point.
Where Peter just on point 14 could get nothing off.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
But what Etan does, if he can get to prime far enough around so that Peter Jahanbahi, apologies, Mr. Mahmood, can't move any pieces before it, he would have to then move off the 6 point.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen Mr. Mahmood. He's got his own backgammon set. It's a really fancy one. I think he
Really,
brings
yeah.
it, plays all his matches with it. So he might be quite disappointed to play on this set. It's fantastic. I don't know how much it costs. It's very nice, very pretty.
I've seen in work one of my colleagues on our internal chat system for a good 20 minutes. We sent links to these beautiful backgammon sets, 200, 300, 400 pounds.
From thousands of pounds.
Oh, I mean, like just black marble and just.
I've got a pretty quality one for the cafe, but like it's exponentially expensive the more you go up.
Yeah. There's a good. It's a Greek company, Manopoulos. They make lovely backgammon sets. I've actually got one of theirs. It's a nice black and kind of aqua blue set. It's gorgeous. So I'd recommend their
I'll
sets.
tell you now that I've got a lot of games at the cafe, and the cafe owns a lot of games. The only game I'm going to keep at my house is backgammon.
Really?
Yeah, it's the only game I think I would play at home, not at the cafe.
Why is that?
Because I consider backgammon like a Sunday afternoon game. Like, you know,
Okay,
I'm here, have a cup of tea. It'll just, you know, got an hour to spare before you go out. Okay, let's sit down here, chat, watch the TV in the background, chat. I can play it without thinking. Like, obviously, I need to think if I'm playing a serious competition, but I can play it without thinking. I like backgammon. It's just like sometimes it's just nice to chuck dice.
Yeah. Instead of all your moves, pardon me, or the games you're playing, perfect information where you have to pay attention. It's nice to. Yeah. Do you think it's a matter of not that your moves are being dictated for you, but sometimes you can let the dice take the lead in backgammon more than you can?
Yeah, you've got to play. You've got to give yourself the best opportunity to deal with the dice you've got, I think.
Yeah.
Etton's been pinned again. This is good for Etton, though, potentially, because what Etton needs to do is get a prime around this corner here. So if Etton gets a prime round the corner where Mr. Mahmood's single disc is, that Etton can pin.
Yeah.
Is this Etton's move? So we can't get it again. If he's rolled a 3 and a 2,
he's rolling low this game.
This is bad as well because he can't get one safe either. He's got to leave another hit. Yeah, this is bad because that's. I mean, if Mr. Mahmood rolls a 3, which he didn't get, he could have caught this one here. And sadly, he could have got there with a 10 as well, but he rolled a 9. Yeah. All right. He can get him. He can pin him there with his single one on 0.5. He can pin the one by himself. That's what he needed to have a chance. I think he needs to get a prime and force these two off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has he got to leave another one? I think he does. Oh dear. I think what Etton has to do is move both the 6 and the 5 off 0.4.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he needs to move 11 off 0.4 to 15. I could work that. It's funny to pretend I was working out. I think that's what I'd do. I don't think you can do anything else. You just can't leave another single one in your home territory and hope to win.
No.
I think so.
If he gets a second one pinned.
Yeah, because maybe it's not great. Not great anyway. I suppose the possibility is to move from 0.9 to 0.20. Because getting it pinned at 0.20 isn't a bad thing.
Especially if you've got something pinned on point.
Yeah, if you already got 2 pinned on 6 and 5, 0.20 is not a bad thing. I don't know what I'd do. I think he's in trouble. I think he knows it. I think some of the other games have already finished. Did you win? Yeah. So the lady in the room with us, Mr. Leung, is it? Miss Leung? Yeah, she won. She's. Are you a junior? No. Okay, she's not a junior. So Tim was wrong. She just looks young. So those people at home, if you are watching and you are a backgammon player and you want to join in, could you just let me know? Like, so I, myself and Ryan, we haven't played it that much. I've had a few games. You had a few games.
Perhaps even less. Much more less.
Can you let me know what the skill difference is? Like, so in my opinion, especially with the doubling dice, the regular backgammon is much more skillful. So if backgammon with the doubling dice and first to 11 or something is the most skillful you can get, that's a 10. Where do you think Plakoto rates on the skill level of a board game? If the backgammon with a long, a lot of points to play for with a doubling dice rate. If you are commentating, you want to join in, can you please answer that question for me? And hopefully you can clear that up for me. Because I think this game, potentially, especially without the doubling dice, has less skill. Is it a bit lucky? Because I think Etten was unlucky on this particular one to get his piece pinned so early. I wouldn't know. Where would you rate it?
I think you are. It seemed that depending on your position and how you position throughout the early game, it feels like there is element of skill in it. But as you said, Etten has been quite unlucky with rolling a few double ones and just low rolls that haven't.
The double ones were fine, but once he got pinned, he needed to roll higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Etten's been pinned again. On point, the move he made, he went from 4 to 15. He got double pinned.
It was an aggressive move for him to try and pin in Mr. Mahmood's home quarter. What do you feel? How do you feel about the different starting positions between regular backgammon and Plakoto?
I think I played Plakoto when I was initially told the rules. I played it with the regular backgammon positioning, and I got to the point where this can't work. This can't be done. Like, this is wrong because I pinned on their home spot. I did the mother checker thing. And
right, yeah.
And I pinned them, and I was like, hang on, if they pin me, neither of us can win.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to check. So I went away and Wikipedia'd it. I'm like, oh, we started it wrong. That makes much more sense. So given the context of the rules, the way they started off there, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
One of the backgammon strengths is the just the starting position. I don't know whether that's just what they decided and people have gone with it, or whether that's the best tactical kind of way of spreading it out.
It's interesting. I would love to know how backgammon originated, because you're talking like the first mention of it is in 6th century Persia.
It's older than Chet. I thought it was BC, wasn't it? Or is that? No, that's Mancala.
Mancala Senate.
It's older than chess.
It's older than chess, yes. Chess is about 7th century AD in India, and then before that came Chaturanga. Persia is maybe 5th, 6th century, and there's actually there's a story, and I can't remember if it's in the Babylonian Talmud or if it's in another kind of myth or legend, but there was an exchange of dignitaries between Persia and India, and somebody brought chess from India, and somebody brought backgammon from Persia, and they had they had a game, but I don't know if that's more myth than fact. But
it sounds something that would be nice to be true.
Yeah, that's true. But I can't help but think that the origins of backgammon are maybe found in Egypt's Senate. That's one of, if not the oldest game, is about 2,500 BC or maybe even 3,000 BC. The oldest recorded board set is
For backgammon.
Well, for the Egyptian game Senate, which is the first board game found, and it's a race game, and I wonder if backgammon has come from Senate.
Okay, because they wouldn't have had dice back then, would they?
So there's a book. So if I can nerd out and geek out, there's a book called Secret Games of the Gods, by Nigel Pennick or something like that. And in it he talks about ritual systems and runes and how means of divination through shamanistic rituals were turned into the earliest board games. And so that crisscross pattern that you find in chess and other board games has come from divinatory rituals. And so the throwing of chits in the air is kind of simulates the throwing of dice, even if it's just two-sided, that sort of thing. So I think maybe Senate is played with chits that are two-sided.
Okay.
And that's how you move. There could have no, because the Royal Game of Ur actually is 2000 BC, and it's 4-sided dice that they use in that. So there's that's an early incarnation of dice.
So, yeah, I think since we've been watching, I'm not sure this happened, but I think Mr. Mahmood has pinned another one.
Ooh.
Yeah, so, like, what I'd like to see is a game where you get pinned like this, but you get out of it. And
Yes.
it's hard to see how you get out of it, because in regular backgammon, it's potentially easy to get that prime, that block of 6 where they can't get past you, because you're not starting all from here, you start from here and here and here, and you can spread out a bit. Yeah. I don't know what he can do, to be honest. Do not know what he can do. What we're going to try and do for you as well is get the standings after this. This will be after 3. I imagine that the winner of this will be one of maybe only 2 undefeated people, because there's only about 7 games going on, so there's about 14 people. But there are 5 rounds, so it's a chance for you. You can even lose a round and still win the event.
Yeah.
Which gives you a chance. The tiebreaks will be, I believe, it will be most wins, and then after that it will be, if there's a tie between 2 players, it's probably going to be with us up between the 2 players. And he's been pinned again.
That's it.
It's just.
Do you think that Etan has to be aggressive at this point?
I don't think there's a way out of it now. He's got
Yeah.
so many pins. There's no space for a prime. That was the last chance. So if he could have had. 0.14 all the way back to 0.9.
Yeah.
If he could have got that as a prime. The
could
problem
have.
is, he could get that as a prime, and Mr. Mahmood could just move one before it, and then Etan has to break the prime up because he's got no spare pieces.
Yeah.
He's already got 4 pieces locked.
Yeah, so Mr. Mahmood has 2 on 0.24, I think. And then
Yeah.
Etan would still have to move his points, or his pieces off points 2 and 3.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, to be honest. So we'll see. It'd be nice to have a game that was close. So far, the first one was close. The first one wasn't close, and this one's not been so close. And the second one was even further from being close. Although Etan is not as far behind as Peter Horlock was behind Etan last game, I don't think.
No, he's about three away from.
Yeah,
3 blocks away from.
Etan had captured 7 last time, and Johan Barney has only captured 4, 5. It's not far off.
Yep.
Oh, 6, just when you... Actually, 6 might not be too bad, actually, if you can block a spot. So, no, he's going to have to leave another pin, which is bad. He's going to have to leave, I think, if I can get a top-down view. Yeah, is he going to have to leave another pin? Yes, he is. He can't move... Oh, he can... No, he can't move all 4 6s. So he can't move on 0.2.
No.
He can't move on 0.12. So the only 6s he can move, he's got 6 discs he can move a 6. He can move 0.13.
Yep.
That's only 1. And he can move all 3 on 0.3. So that's one possibility. The other possibility he's got is he moves 2 from 0.3 to 0.9.
And then again 2.13.
And then 2 from 0.10 to 0.16.
Yep.
I think that's probably what I'd do. I'd leave the one on 0.3. If they capture 0.3, well, so what? If
Yeah.
they capture 0.3, it means they've uncaptured one of the other ones, so
Yeah.
maybe that's a sensible thing to do. But that's just going to leave, and it's going to be even harder to get 0.2 out.
Yeah.
It's like,
I probably moved that one too.
with the other possibilities, you move all 3 from 0.3, and then you move another one. No, that doesn't work either.
Yeah.
I just think he's stuffed.
Probably move 2 from 0.10.
Yeah, you could do that,
yeah.
but you've got to move 2 more.
Yeah. And then.
You could do 0.10 twice if you wanted to, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then you're not blocking him in. You need to block him in, I think.
But the hope of the mother checker exists if he moves to the 2 from 0.10. Then he's within 8.
No, because he has to move him twice. If he moves a 2 from 0.10 twice, you'd go to there and there. Because you get 4 moves, don't you?
Oh, could
Get
he
4
move?
sixes.
Could he move the 2 from 0.10 and then 2 others from say 0.3?
Yeah, but then he's leaving one on 0.3.
Yeah.
He's going to have to leave one unless he moves 0.10 twice to get to 0.22.
Yeah.
And 0.22 is 2 away from getting a mother checker.
Yeah.
Is that what he's doing? He is. He's doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The mother checker,
I
Steve.
might not agree with that.
We might see it.
I suppose if he's going to win the game, this might be his only chance.
Exactly. So you just have to hope for pearls, and he might be waiting for a while.
Yeah.
Because Jahabani can just wait, really.
This isn't a good role for him. This is not a good role for him at all. He's not got a good option here. Yeah, this is not a good role. He's going to have to leave.
3 and a 5.
He's going to have to leave a hit, I think. So his one option is to move off point 1 twice.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got more of Etten's pins than Etten has of his.
Mhm.
So even if Etten manages to pin one of them, Etten's probably going to be forced to move it off first. But maybe that's just risky. Maybe that's just throwing a lead. The other possibility is you move all 8 from point 15 to point 7.
Yeah.
And then let Etten pin it. He's just not got a good move. The other, I mean, he could, and this is probably that's probably too passive. He could move 3. Yeah, no, he can't do that.
He'll probably move from
I think
point 14 is probably because it's a 3 and a 5, so he moves from point 15 to point 6. Then it unpins
okay.
one of
Okay, yeah, that's probably the safest move actually.
Yeah. Because he's already got
You're
5
right,
pins.
You're right. I think you're right there. That's probably the best move. I did not see that. Oh no. Ooh. No, you can't move that one. Can't move that one twice. Is what we're trying to do. I think you're right actually. I think 14 to point 6, unpinning Etten's.
Oh.
No, he's done the other one.
Okay.
That's what I saw first, but maybe your move was better. Maybe your move was safer. So Etten fails to pin, I'm afraid. And this is really bad actually because Jahan Barney can potentially shore up this point 7.
Yes, of course, and then he's got a block of
4.
4.
Yeah, it's really bad. So Etten, again, he just hasn't rolled well. Whenever he needs to roll high, he rolls low. And this is a dice doing you in a bit. I think it wasn't all over, but he just got so far behind when he got pinned on turn 3.
Yeah.
Point 6. Etten came 3rd last year, I believe, in this event.
Yeah, I think you were saying.
Plakoto. And it's only been running, this is the 4 years. Mahmood, Jahan Barney, I think Mahmood's his first name, isn't it? Probably.
It could be.
Yeah, Mahmood's probably.
Yeah.
Actually. I mean, yeah, that makes more sense, actually.
We've been reading it from.
Yeah. So Mahmood, if Mahmood's your surname, I apologise. Mahmood's probably your first name. I think it's been put the wrong way around. Or at least, I don't know if they gave their family name first.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyway, Mahmood actually won this event the very first time it was played.
In
so well done,
2016?
Mahmood. 2016, he has won before. Charlotte won last year, so we've got 2 past champions in. So he can protect point 7 by moving twice from point. He can also capture point 4, which he might just do. So this is 1, 2, and then he's got 2 more 4s to move.
Oh, double 4s.
Yeah. Which I think maybe you move him off point 1. Yeah, that's probably the best. You can't get. Not yet. I don't think. I honestly. I think it might have happened because we've had several people walk in here quite quickly.
Yes.
So I think it might have happened. We've had Tim's come in twice early. He's won 1, lost 1.
Yeah.
And then Leung, Miss Leung, she's at UCL London, I think.
Yeah.
From overseas. She came in very quickly. So either she got a bye or she lost quite quickly.
Yeah. I demand a mother checker, damn it.
It's like chess.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was his only option, I'm afraid. He's now got 2 more pieces that Mahmood can.
It was a good gamble to go for the win, but it was unlikely.
I think, and then he just moves a 5 from the same point, I think. I don't know why he's thinking. There's no other choice, really. He just moves a 5 from the same point. Oh no, he's going to capture. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because you've got 5 to move. Yeah.
You were talking about this as like a perfect Sunday game to just
I think so.
kind of lay back. Do you? Because I don't know how it is. It's maybe not feasible in England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland because the weather is too bad. But would you like to see more open tables of backgammon and chess around parks? So
Yeah,
that
you
could
see,
just
that's a very Americanized thing, I think.
I love the idea of that.
Yeah, I would do, and I think maybe it's the sort of thing you can potentially have in like an old pub garden, like when it's an old pub, like a village pub garden,
Yeah,
that sort
yeah.
of thing. You can have a few out on tables that you can get out when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that. I would love to have play some backgammon over a pint or something. Or,
Yeah.
I used to play when I was at university. I had a set, and I used to play with my housemate for 10p a point. When we were back in the time when I was at university, no one had smartphones.
Yeah.
They weren't around. No one really had laptops with everything on it, access to internet
Yeah.
all the time. It's still dial up and stuff. Well,
Yep.
not quite, but like we did have broadband just, but like no, we didn't. We socialised a lot more. And I'm not saying it's not bad not to socialise now or whatever. It's just things have changed.
Right?
It's just the way of socializing has
Yeah.
become different.
Sometimes we got up to like the point where he owed me, I owed him a tenner, so that's like 100 points. But we play a lot and we double a lot, and
Yeah.
sometimes you double as a bluff, and they apparently really bluff. I wasn't as savvy at it as I am now.
Mm.
I think of just kind of like analysing a board situation, working out whether it's good. Tomorrow, it won't apply now, but tomorrow I'm going to give you the task of working out what percentage of the time you should win the game to accept a double. So I will. That's the question I'm going to ask you tomorrow. It's going to come up in the stream.
Have you just channeled your inner maths?
No, I
teacher?
asked it
This
to I asked it to someone last year
Perfect.
when we were talking about like odds and stuff and backgammon. We didn't stream backgammon, but it
Mhm.
was Mr. Elaine Decker. We had a discussion about it.
Okay.
It was a hypothetical question for me. I thought I knew the answer, and then he gave me a different answer. I was like, oh, I thought it was this. And we had a bit of a discussion. We agreed on what the answer should be.
Okay.
And that there are some caveats to that. So I'm going to leave that with you. That's your homework for tonight.
The pressure's on. Brilliant.
You at home, if you want to join in with that question, the assumption is, I might ask it again tomorrow. I'm not going to give the answer tonight, but if playing backgammon with a doubling cube, if you know what that is, what percentage of the time should you be able to win the game to accept the double? That is assuming
2 and 3 guesses.
that it's almost certainly not going to be gammoned or backgammoned, where accepting the double with the potential to throw it back at them or lose twice as many or 3 times as many of the points. Easy, yeah. I've made it super easy. I've taken away all the potential variables. Yeah, so. Yeah, I think Eton, sadly, is just going to be forced to move too many off point.
13.
Yeah, 13 before. So what Eton needs is Mahmood to roll lots of high doubles. Like we said last time, we want him to be forced to move off Eton's pieces.
Yeah.
So 4 and a 3. Problem is, he can move past Eton. He can move on points 11, 10 and 9 safely
Yes.
because Eton can't get him back. Yeah. Oh, that's bad. That's really bad. You do not want to roll a double 5 now.
So he's going to have to move off point.
Yeah, points. Yeah, he moves them twice, I imagine. That's what he's going to do. Or he can move them once, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's just
So
like
that's not as fast.
it's maybe it's just bad because Eton needs to keep these on point 13.
Oh, for as long as possible.
long as possible.
And wait for Mahmood to...
Wait for Mahmood to be forced to free his
Yeah.
pieces up. But so he wants Mahmood to roll doubles, and Eton wants to roll. That's like, I mean, this is awful. Like
Yeah.
brilliant double 6. He can only move 3 of them, and he has to, I'm afraid, move all 3 off point 13.
Oh.
He's got no other choice. He's moved 3 off here, and then he can't move the 4th 6. It's just, again, if you just tuned in for backgammon, if you roll a double, that means you get 4 of those numbers instead of 2.
He might have to... Yeah, he might not be able to play. Well, he'll be able to
No, he can't move a 6
in
now.
No,
He can't move a 6 now. So again, I'm going to go, the fact that Eton's just rolled double 5, double 6, he's just rolled so bad. Like, the luck's not been with him. He's not the best of situations here. I think, while he's mathematically still got a chance to win, I think he's actually got a lower chance than Etton's opponent last time in the same situation. I mean, if I was playing at home, I would concede now. Again, I mean, at that point, if I was... He's conceded. He's conceded. I think...
At the point where Mahmoud had taken 0.6, I probably would have conceded, but then I'm not that
there is a chance. If you can get a prime... If you can get a prime, I think you can back into it. Yeah. So if that was the last match, I think what Etton did is absolutely fine. If there's other matches waiting, I mean, he's not going to win from that point, realistically. Yeah. It's like less than 1%, less than 1/10% from that point. So well done, Mahmoud. We're going into round 4. Going into round 4, they're about to start because obviously that was the last match going. It took the longest. We're going to look at the standings, potentially, and we're going to get potentially our last... undefeated player or undefeated players playing in this match guaranteed. Mahmoud might be the last undefeated player. We don't quite know until we see the standings. But he will definitely be at the feature table again. Tomorrow we have 3 more streaming events coming. We have Twixt from 12 o'clock, I believe. 12
o'clock, yeah, I think that's the first
1:30. And then we have an hour break, and we have the second half of the Entropy World Championships from 2:30 to 5:30. That's a big long one, and that is my favourite event, so I'm really looking forward to that. And for all those events, I'll be with Ryan. And then tomorrow evening, we've got regular backgammon. We're going back to the normal rules. I believe if it's not best of one, there will also be a doubling cube in there as well. Okay. So we can talk about the strategies of doubles. I'm going to come back to that question. I will answer it for you if you want to see the answer to that question tomorrow. Again, what percentage of the time should you accept a double, assuming there's no gammons? So we've got those tomorrow for you. The streaming, if you're not sure what times things are, the streaming profile will be on the website. You can see it on the screen behind me. You can find that at the World Mind Sports Olympiad website. Which of those 3 events are you most looking forward to, do you think?
For tomorrow's stream? Yeah. Oh, I think Entropy.
Good
actually,
man. I agree with you there.
The game we played earlier on today, I got stuffed, but happily so. It was a joy, and it was interesting for me because it's learning to see the patterns and learning to tell when a color can make a pattern. So you're looking for not just, two different colors, but you're looking at what the 3rd or 4th color in a row or a column can do for you and can do for patterns. So it's interesting, and it's learning to see in a different way, which I very much like.
Entropy's a great game. It's got unique, that asymmetrical player thing to it. You play both sides. You're trying to score the best as the side that scores the points, and you're trying to detract them when you're not. And the fact that you can switch that around, and if they've got a low score, you need to take fewer risks and things like that. It's great. So tune in tomorrow. But we've also got Twixt, which is effectively a variation on blockbusters. You're trying to get from one side to the other, or stop your opponent getting from one side to the other using bridges. And finally, we've got regular backgammon. So again, if you want to tune in, please tune in tomorrow. We've got some more streaming events coming on later this week on Sunday, and then Monday next week on Bank Holiday. So if you like what you see, please do that. We're going to see the next match in a second, and hopefully we can get some standings for you if we can get the men behind the canvas to chase that up for us. So let's go into match 4.
That's it. And the last part of the streaming schedule on the Monday is the award ceremony, where we will find out the winner of the Pentamine.
We will do, yeah. We'll have a look at the Pentamine standings potentially before we end the event. But yeah, we can see the board there. That is the board where we conceded, Etton conceded right near the end. So yeah. Are you going to be watching the final stream?
Oh yeah. Because Azul's on it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing Azul.
Azul's on the last day, yeah?
Azul's on the last day, and I'd love to see what high level Azul looks like, because I'd love to learn some things.
I imagine it will be varied because it's not been played at high level before. So I imagine anyone play. I don't think there's been many. We've had an Azul tournament at the cafe. But that was widely varied.
Yeah.
So people would win their first game, win their second game, then lose drastically on the next. You can get stuffed a bit in Azul. So it's a bit like Blockus. I think you can potentially correct, but if everyone stuffs you in or denies you what you need, the space you need, or in this particular case the tiles you need, you might be a bit... so we'll see. So I'm not sure how deep the strategy in Azul goes, but Azul won Game of the Year, so I'm looking forward to it too.
Absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that stream. That'll be great.
We can see that the cameraman is adjusting the board for us. Thank you very much, Mr. Cameraman.
Do you know what I'm also looking forward to is the Agricola stream.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I've only played a couple games of Agricola, but it looks to be I'd love to see it being played competitively. Chris Fung, one of the other commentators,
Yeah,
has
the guy,
spoken.
I'll be streaming with him.
Yeah. He's spoken very highly of Agricola. He's talked to me about strategy and the kind of different levels that and the races that happen in it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, Agricola is a great game. I've not played it enough to go deep into it. This is Mahmoud Jahanbani's fancy board.
That is, I don't have the color inlay is the same as mine, but the leather on the inside I don't have.
The pieces themselves.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
Yeah, look like marbleized pieces.
Yeah, it's a beautiful board.
Yeah. So this is what we're playing with. We've got to thank him for that, I think. We're going to see who we're playing now. I don't know who we've got. We're going to get the names as soon as we can. We're going to focus on to top-down view, and we're going to see how they do. We are now going, I will let you know before we go to the top-down view, we are now going to call this point 1 down to point 12, point 13 to point 24. So we're still playing from the position of black, who's the player at the bottom.
I'm going to forgive him this once for it because it's a very beautiful board.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And if we can try and get the standings for the event, that would be great. We'll get them to you as soon as we can. So 6-2 is not great because there's a piece now that you can get if you roll high enough. He did not roll high enough, 4-3, but yeah, so this is a good start for white. That's not great. I assume you move these 10 spaces, so you're going to move them to point 11.
Thank you. Okay, so we have the standings for the end of round 3. So Mahmoud Jahabani is undefeated with 3 wins. And then following him, there are 6 competitors, all on 2 wins. So we have Agius Scott. Scott Agius, Tim Hebbs, Joanne Leung, Martin Hamer, Charlotte Levy, Etan Ilfield, and then we have 3 with 1 win, Peter Horlock, Natasha Reagan, and Jonathan Siegel.
Okay.
So 12 competitors in all.
12 competitors in all. So the medalists will come from probably people who get at least 4 wins, we imagine. So we'll see.
So it's 5 rounds.
There's 5 rounds, yeah. So I imagine if Mahmoud can get 1 more win, he'll get a medal of some sort.
Yeah.
And there are 6 players on 2.
So 3 of them will get to 3 wins for the 5th round. Yeah.
And then some of them will try and get to 4. So I think 4 medals are what you're after. There might be certain situations where 3 medals might get you, 3 wins might get you a medal based on tiebreaks. So we'll see there. In that list, we had Charlotte Levy, who's won this event before, Etan Ifeld, who has come 3rd last year. Mahmoud has won this event before as well. And Natasha Reagan only won one so far. She's still got a chance, though. She came 2nd last year. So White is taking a big lead here. White is pinned black twice. And I know that White will either be Scott Aegis or Martin Hamer, just from looking at his hands. I think it's Martin Hamer. It is Martin Hamer. I've just seen his glasses, actually, so it's not Scott. Oh, does Scott have glasses? He's no, I think it's Martin Hamer based on the colour of the hair and so on. I've just been confirmed it is Martin Hamer.
Oh, okay.
And those names will be dropped on the screen for you. So anyway, what we'd like to see, what we'd really like to see is for a close game after someone's been pinned early.
Yes.
That would be nice. Otherwise, it feels like at high-level play where everyone's equal, whoever pins first wins.
I predict that we're going to see. We've got a couple pins. It's going to be a prime. Yeah, Mahmoud's going to come back with a prime.
I think that's hard. Given where the pins are, I think that's hard.
Yeah.
If the pins were 6 apart or 7 apart, you could fit a prime in between them, but you can't here. And the prime has to be further into the round so that Mahmoud's not wasting turns. He's also, because those have been pinned there, and Mahmoud's not got any round on points 13 onwards, well, he has now. That's good. That's decent because if that gets pinned, so what?
Yeah.
But that means that we can potentially still have Mother Checker.
The Mother Checker is still in play.
Yeah. For those people who've just tuned in, we've talked about the mother checker. We haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
But the mother
The
checker
mystical mother checker.
if you pin your opponent's piece on 1 and you have no more of your pieces on point 24, you win, and vice versa. So if you pin their starting space and then you get all yours off your starting space, you win, because there's no way for your opponent to ever get that piece off effectively. It's not because it's not just a different win condition, it's just as if you carried on playing the game, whatever happened, there was no way for you to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because as long as that's the last piece you would move off when you're bearing off, you can't possibly lose. So that's how it works. That's how I realised that I'd set the game up wrong. I pinned them on 1, so I actually performed a mother checker, not realising what I was doing. My opponent was just playing normal backgammon, trying to get the pieces off 1 first, and I pinned them, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, if they pinned me, how would the game end?
Yeah.
And that's how you can get a draw. That's why you need to get all yours off 1 first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so.
But he's not able to eat. Like, it's.
No, he is. Yeah, Mahmoud's been caught again.
Yeah.
And Martin can potentially get a prime as well down the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So I imagine Martin's at least 90% to win here, based on what we've seen before.
Yeah.
This is bad. If he has to move off there, he can't move off there. He cannot move off the off the 24 spot. Again, we've gone back the other way. He's smiling. Martin's smiling as well for different reasons.
Yeah, I think so.
Mahmoud, I will say the Osset is gorgeous.
He deserves to win on that alone, maybe.
Yeah. I also think this is a nice event to finish the day off, because it is not as you don't need to be as focused, I think.
I was thinking that. Yeah, it's a nice one.
You could still make mistakes, but like if I was playing earlier in the event, there's a Gaia Project final going on, which will take about 3 hours, and it is the 4th game of Gaia Project these people have had today.
Oh my goodness!
And all the games have taken potentially up to 3 hours. They've got to live 3 hours for each game.
So the whole day.
They've played Gaia Project, one tournament of Gaia Project. Ooh. Which is great. If you haven't played Gaia Project, it is a great Euro game. It's the first time they've hosted the Gaia Project final here. But they also hosted Terra Mystica yesterday. And Gaia Project is, like, in my opinion, an improved version of Terra Mystica. It's got some similar mechanics, but just some of the bits in Terra Mystica that they weren't bad, but they've just been made better by Gaia Project. And so a lot of the people came from Amsterdam and Italy, from Holland and Italy, Netherlands and Italy. I keep saying Holland. To come and play in that. They've hung around to play this today, so the field's not only bigger than last year, it's super strong.
Yeah.
Right. To have a chance, I think might get pinned again here. You might get pinned to form a prime. Now it's easier for Martin Hamer to form a prime because he only needs to put 1 on point.
Yeah.
For
ideally, you want to form a prime as far into your opponent's have it relative to where their pieces still are.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you want to block their movements. That's the purpose of it.
I'm not sure it matters as much if they haven't captured any of yours, but if they've captured some of yours, if you form a prime and they can't move some of their other pieces, they have to then release yours, and that's why you do. That's why you need to do it.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's the only way to kind of force them to unrelease your pieces.
Oh, okay.
I think. The other way is to capture some of theirs back and kind of outlast them, stay on theirs longer than they can stay on yours.
Yeah.
But the prime seems like the best way to force them off. So I think if they've caught one in my home territory, I think my strategy would be to form a prime.
Oh, okay.
To try and force them off it.
Yeah.
No, they've got nothing else they can move. I've primed them out. I've blocked them moving anything past my prime.
Yeah.
Or like maybe anything but the 1. Maybe they don't want to leave their 24 space unprotected, so they're forced to move off your home space.
Okay, yeah.
I think so. So there's the prime.
Yep.
That's why Martin can safely move the off the 1 space.
No mother checkers in this game. It's confirmed.
No. Yeah, was that double 1, was it? Right. I will say one of the dice is a bit hard to spot there. I think it's 2 4s. Whether it's light from the camera or the dice itself.
Yeah, I've took a look behind
I
its
think
two
it's the
fours.
light on the camera. I think the dice are nicer, but they're marbleized, so you get a bit of a shine off the
Yeah,
dice.
yeah.
So 2-1. I just think, like, in this particular case, it's good for the tournament.
Mhm.
It's bad for Mahmood. It's good for the tournament because this opens it up.
It does, yeah.
If Mahmood won, he'd almost be not quite certain of the goal, but pretty up there.
Yeah.
But now, if Martin can win, there's going to be like a 1, 2, 3, potentially a 4-way tie for first. A 3 or 4-way tie for first if Martin wins this.
And then it goes to the tiebreakers.
No, because there's one more match.
Yeah.
There's one more match after this. But going into last match,
Yes.
you need to win, and you need to hope tiebreakers are favourable for you.
Yes.
There are our players. There's Martin on the right. Martin has won some events before. He's done well in certain events. He generally does the kind of the thinkier events. He plays his backgammon, but he hasn't medalled in this event before.
Okay.
I knew he'd written his name down somewhere in my little book of mysteries. He won colour chess last year, the first year it was played.
Okay.
Colour chess is interesting. Have you seen colour chess?
I've seen a little bit of it. I'm more familiar with 960 chess, but color chess is a little bit more mysterious to me.
So colour chess is the board is randomly jigsawed, coloured up, and then effectively there are like 8 of each colour or something like that. Or maybe I think there's 64 altogether. It's probably 8 of each colour. And on your turn you move 2 pieces. The first piece you have to move has to be on the colour that your opponent finished their turn on last time. So on my turn I might move my knight because I was forced to, and then I might move my pawn onto yellow, which forces them to move a piece on yellow. They have to move if they can, unless it puts them in check.
Yeah.
And if they haven't got a piece on yellow that they can move, or they haven't got a piece on yellow, they miss their 2 turns. You get 2 turns.
Okay, yeah.
So you can like... so if you attack your opponent's queen, invariably they might move a piece and then take you with their queen.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So it's interesting, and it's timed as well. So it's based on a timer. So time becomes a big part. You've got to think really quickly, and it's not as solvable as regular chess because every board is different.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a certain restrictions as to where the colours go. They have to be spread out in a certain way. There's a certain number of colours that have to be on either half.
Yeah.
So I think of the colours, you have to have 4 of each on each half.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it fair. But it is interesting. You can't leave yourself not being on a colour because then your opponent can restrict you to 1 move.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Going back into the game, what do you think about Mahmoud's position here? Because he's got quite a lot of his pieces into, just a few pieces into the last quarter, whereas Martin hasn't been able to, or has chosen not to. He's just chosen to maintain the prime.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't think that matters, to be honest.
Yeah.
While Martin has pinned so many, Mahmoud's kind of forced to move his remaining pieces further. So I think that's going to happen most of the time when you get pinned. There's certain pieces you can't move, which means you're forced to move the few pieces you can move further.
Okay.
So it's great. So Mahmoud has got 1 pinned, but because Martin's got 4 pinned, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
He's rolled a 4 and a 2. He's moved that off, and he's going to move a 2 off one of these. I imagine he moves it off that one, yes. And the issue is, I think Mahmoud's not in a great place because the other issue is that Mahmoud's still got 4 in his original quarter.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Martin Hamer's got rid of all from his original quarter there. So Mahmoud's still got to be careful of being pinned in his home.
And they're quite protected as
starting
well.
territory.
Martin's pieces.
Yeah. Can he move? Yes, he can. He can move those 4, and that's, and then he has to unpin the piece. So now he has to unpin the piece he's got pinned. So Martin's indicated he's moved this one twice, which is advantage Martin even more. So 6-3.
6 and 1.
That's a 3.
Oh, it is. Oh man, the glare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you need to bring your glasses. Have you got
know.
glasses?
I don't. I actually have I have a rare eye condition, so
dear.
I get erosions in my eyes. So the prescription kind of it's like a scar on top of the cornea, and so it's like looking through a bubble. So glasses don't really work.
Okay.
So
Apologies for that.
I'll forgive you just this one, Steve.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
There's a prime.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
yeah, and this just means that Martin. I mean, again, I think this is another one of those. It's sad to see that we haven't seen many close games today. In fact, the first game we saw was the closest, I think.
I think so. Yeah, it was
Peter actually got a couple off against Eton.
He
Yeah,
did. He actually
so-
got quite a few.
Got a few off.
But Charlotte against Peter was
Maybe the
close
closest
and
in terms
yeah,
of the fewest pinnings.
yeah. It was just that one crucial pin, and I think the 5th or 6th point that beat Charlotte.
So, yeah, I imagine this is another 99 point something % game in
Yeah.
favour of Martin here. Yeah, he's just gonna slowly allow Peter to move, not Peter, Mahmood to move like one at a time.
So at this point, Mahmood can't move anything unless the prime is.
Maybe John Barney is his first name. Okay, so
Oh,
John
okay.
Barney. Apologies. Yeah, I just think it's all over again. It's not mathematically certain. So there is a chance, but the issue is that Martin has got the 7 spot covered. So as long as that's the last piece he moves into is bearing off territory, I don't think John Barney can actually capture him. Okay, so John Barney can now move 5s and 6s. Can't move that. But you can move this one here. But you can now move 5s and 6s off point 19. Yeah, 6-4.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so
That's fine.
4, 5s, and 6s he can move.
Yeah, 4s, 5s, and 6s. He could move those anyway because he's got that one piece. But now,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That just speeds it up. I don't think it's actually a good roll for him. It just speeds up the win, I think.
Yeah.
See, I would be happier as black in regular backgammon because I've got a chance to get him back. But yeah, it's just in this one, like, I just don't know. I just don't think he's got an out.
Yeah, that's it. It's conceded.
Okay, there's still some games going on. So what we're going to do, we're going to potentially have a bit of a break. We're going to have a quick look at the pantomime standings. Ryan and I are going to have a bit of a break, a bit of a walk around and some water. We're going to have a look at the standings and the tie breaks as well, so potentially help us out. So we're going to pop the pantomime standings on there, have a quick look at how people are doing, and then we're going to get back to you in about 5-10 minutes or so, because the clocks are not timed, so we don't know potentially how long the games are going to last when the next round is up, the next and final round of Backgammon Plakoto.
Based on who we've seen so far, who do you think is? Do you think there's any one player out of them standings to take the gold, or is it too much?
So, like those people who are slightly quicker at backgammon, quicker at the counting, quicker at the taking over. Eton didn't make any incorrect plays that I saw. I think when I said this is what he should do against Peter, he did it like he took a risk, potentially attacking moves, which is correct. Mahmood, I don't think has done any much wrong as well. Martin's not done much wrong. So what I've seen
There's
is
strong
those,
players.
yeah,
It's
those
just
three
down to
haven't necessarily done the mistake. They got caught early. I think what I saw there from Martin, he quickly, although he had the rules to do so, he quickly got the 12 spot. He got 2 on the 12 spot.
Yeah.
Was able to catch from a mood twice.
Yeah.
So again, you're lucky to do that, but because you've got the 12 spot on the move, has to move out at some point with some of the bigger rolls. He was able to catch them. So I would probably back one of those three based on what I've seen from the skill players. So, but if any of these play the backgammon seriously, they could all still win it.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at the Pentamind. We're going to pop it on the screen for you. We can see, I don't think anything's changed since we last looked at it. For those people who are not sure, the Pentamind is the main event, the overarching event, like the Victor Ludorum of the Mind Sports Olympiad, where your best 5 events with certain restrictions count. You've got to play a couple of premium events, no more than 3 Euro games, that sort of thing. Yeah. So we can see just there, we've got Andres Gusk still leading, Martin Herbenmargi, last year's second place, third, and another person to look out for is Ankush, last year's defending champion with 2 good scores in 5th place, but he still needs to improve some of his other ones. We're going to get back to you in a few minutes' time when the last match starts. Hi, welcome back to the Mind Sports Olympiad 2019. We're going into the final round of Backgammon Plakoto. If you've just joined in or if you're rejoining us, we're going to see Scott Aegis play an opponent. Now, we had an error in scoring earlier. We've been in to clarify that, and there's a lot of miscommunication occasionally. There was an error on the scoring system in the room, and Scott's actually undefeated. He's actually won 4 out of 4. So he's going to go into the round as our leading player. I imagine that guarantees Scott a medal, and there will be 1 match left to see the other medals. The current standings are Scott Aegis is on 4. He will be at our feature table. We don't know who's going to be playing yet until we sit down at the table and see. But the possible people he could be playing are Jahan Barney Mahmood. We've seen him twice now with his fancy backgammon set. He's on 3 wins.
Yep.
Who else is on 3 wins?
We have Joanne Leung, one of the younger players, Martin Hamer, and potentially Etten Ilfeld, but we don't quite know. I don't know if that.
Yeah, we're going to see. His match is the last to finish. So if he won, there will be 4 people on 3 behind Scott. Joanne Leung is at UCL London. She's a Chinese foreign student at University of London here. She's been here all week. She's been a pleasure to chat to. Martin Hamer, we just saw him beat Jahan Barney Mahmood, and the only person to beat Martin Hamer is Scott Aegis. So that is the only person Scott can't play. So he's going to be playing Jahan Barney, Joanne Leung, or potentially Etten Ilfeld, if Etten won his last match. So we're going to tune on to that in a sec. But how have you found Backgammon Plakoto so far, Scott?
Scott, Scott,
Too many names.
Yeah, no, interesting. It's the end of the day as well. So interesting. I've been looking forward to learning a bit more about backgammon the last few weeks. So seeing it in action and seeing how people have been playing. Although I think, as you pointed out, it's been interesting how much there haven't been close games. There being games dictated by one capture or one block at the very start, one pin at the very start, and then working from that.
Yeah, they kind of snowball down. Now, it'd be nice to see a game that doesn't happen, and I imagine some of the longer games that we haven't been on film have been like that.
Yeah, we've maybe just been unfortunate in seeing games that have been not necessarily one-sided, but inevitable.
So we've been told that the delay is changing Scott's score. So Scott had played a match against Tim Hebbes early on, and it got put down as a win for Tim when it was actually a win for Scott. So they're trying to correct that on the computer system before they do the last round pairings. But yeah, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a closer game. It'd be nice to see the final match be a closer game, especially a match dictating a medal. So I think Scott's guaranteed a medal, being on the only undefeated person going to the last match. But he will be playing. It will go down. The medal tiebreak will go down a number of wins first. So anyone, probably 4 wins is what you need to get to. So anyone 4 wins will get a medal, I imagine, because there can be no more than 3 people on 4 wins. Yep. That's why Scott's guaranteed a medal. And then after that, it goes on tiebreaks, and tiebreaks will be down to the difficulty of the opponents who played throughout the event. Currently leading the tiebreaks are obviously Scott's winning, but if he doesn't win the last match, currently leading the tiebreaks is Jahan Barney Mahmood. And then Joanne Leung, I think, is in 3rd, currently on tiebreaks alone. Yeah. So we'll see how that works. So I would like to see, it's probably unfair to have it in the last match, I would like to see a mother checker. That would be nice. I think it must have happened.
Imagine a mother checker after an early pin. That would be good. Like, as if one of the few things to reverse an early pin in your own quarter.
I think to get a mother checker, I think you need to get something close to a prime. You need to get something to the point where your opponent is restricted in the moves and they need to leave you a shot at the 1. Yes. Because a good opponent shouldn't ever leave you a shot at the 1, ever. It just shouldn't happen.
It's maybe sheer chance that it comes down to where your pieces might be so far away and they don't think it's possible, and you roll double sixes or something.
Yeah, I mean, like a double 4, double 5, double 6 might get you there. If they think, they're more than 12 away, I'll move away. And then, they get you there. So we'll see if that happens. We're going to go into that in a sec. Again, if you're interested in coming down to London, we are at the JW3 Centre on Finchley Road. If you're from London, if you're not from London, check out the map on the website. But we're here all week. We have a open play room, which is free to play. It's free to enter, free to look around. You can even kind of watch people playing as long as you're not too obtrusive and stuff. There's a free play area, which have games such as Azul, one of the best games of 2018. Spiel des Jahres winner. I've got King's Cribbage, which is a kind of like poker hand laying tile game. I managed to play last year. I've forgotten some of the rules, but you're trying to lay poker chips or card hands in 5s to try and score the best you can. We've got Stratego, I believe, is in there. And there is a giant Boku set floating around. So if you've never played Boku...
I've never played Boku. I wouldn't mind playing, yeah.
It's a good little 2-player abstract game, and it's one of the quickest ones that there is. There's only like 2 rules. You've got to get 5 in a row, and there's only 2 rules you have to kind of be aware of.
Not bad.
So yeah, so if you'd like to come down, the event list is on the webpage. There's still about half the events left to go. We have 17 total. So that will be there for you to have a look at. And if there's any events you want to have a look at, just people playing them at a high level, or join in. Some of the events have got loads of people. For example, Abalone earlier had 33 people.
33, yeah.
There was at least one person or two. There was at least one person who entered, having read the rules an hour before. He was asking. I don't know if you remember him at the start of the day.
Yes, Greg. Yeah, I think it was.
He's called Joe Mealer, actually.
Ah, right.
Joe
okay.
Mealer, who's a friend of mine from years ago. He walked into the room and said, "Oh, I see.
Yes.
What are you learning there? Oh, corridor. I'm going to be playing that later. What are the rules?" So we had a quick chat with him, and he won some games today.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah, for the first game you play. Yeah.
If you fancy coming down and having a go at some of the things either you've played or haven't played before, it'd be great to see you here at JW3 in London.
Yeah.
So the last match, we've been told, is between Scott Aegis, who is the undefeated player, and Eton Iffield, who must have won. So that means the medalists will come 3 of the following 5. It will be Scott Aegis, guaranteed, and then either Jahan Barney Mahmood, Joanne Young, Martin Hamer, or Eton Effield, I believe, will be the only people who can win a medal. There is potentially, if someone gets paired down and loses, that could happen, but we'll see what happens with those. We're going to tune in to the final match. We are not using the fancy board of Jahan Barney Mahmood anymore. We'll be using back to a regular board, and we'll see if we see the elusive Mother Checker. I just like saying it.
I'd riot. I would riot if I saw it.
Deal.
Yeah. Camera equipment gone.
Yeah. So in terms of points for the Pentamind, there are only 12 players, so even if you win this event, it probably won't get you the 90 points you need.
Oh, okay.
Which is why you haven't seen any of the leading Pentamind players there. They often not only look for an event they can win, an event they can do well at, an event they can score highly at, an event with double session. They're looking for the number of people, and if it doesn't bring enough people in, they probably won't enter. So, although some of these people have done well in the Pentamind before, Tim Hebbies has done well in the past, and Natasha Reagan is one of the leading female contenders here. She cares about trying to do the best she can. This is probably not going to be a great score for someone who's looking to try and win the thing.
Yeah, but if it's an event that you enjoy, a variation of backgammon that you haven't played in a while, it might be nice just to unwind with it after a long day.
I think it's slightly easier than regular backgammon. I think. Potentially, and it's best to one as well. So it's something that, if you don't like the doubling dice, some people don't. Some people just want to finish the game of backgammon. They don't want to go. Oh, I don't want to take the. I don't want to double because I just want to finish. And sometimes they'll take the double when they shouldn't, and vice versa.
Yeah. Running a board game cafe as you do, just as we're waiting, what would have been some of the favourite games of yours that you've seen come out in the last maybe 2 or 3 years?
It depends on category. So my favourite game from last year was a game called Decrypto, which is
Decrypto was great.
which is a two. We've started, I'm afraid. Which is a 2-player. I think we've started. Yes, we have.
Oh, okay.
I think Eton got a double 6. And I think maybe Scott got double. I don't know what's happened. They've gone.
Have they both got a double 6?
If they've started, or maybe they've not reset the board from last time.
Okay.
I don't know. We're going to see if someone's rolled a 3 and a 2 here. Can't see any arms. That's the issue. I don't know whose turn it is.
3 and a 2.
3 and a 2. I imagine if someone's rolled a 3 and a 2, it's Scott because, it's Scott. He's rolled a 3 and a 2. Okay. So if Eton can pin him, he can. He's going to have to pin him here. He is. He's got him. Right. Okay. Yep. Now Scott's to have a chance has got to pin Eton back, and that does not do it. But I imagine he's going to move 2 there and these 2 into the home. So very aggressive.
Yeah.
There has been an early pin, so we're going to see if it stays that way, because this is really bad for Eton. It's good, and he's got his pin, but it's bad, and Scott's got those 2. He's stuck in. Oh, you can't do that. I think you've got to move the one on point 13. Oh no, apologies. That does get him safe, doesn't it? I was miscounting. Miscounting on 0.5, you only needed 4 to reach it.
Yeah.
think you move. This is fine. You move. No, I don't think you do that. I think you
Yeah.
move one from the 1 and one from the 4. Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe you just play safe, because if you move the one that Eton had the finger on, you've got to leave another one unprotected. Although it's safe to leave the 4 unprotected, it's possibly better to pin up the, safe up the 7 spot. It depends. That depends. I think the aggressive move is to play from the 1 and the 5 spot onto the 7 spot.
Can you play from the 13?
Yeah, it can go 13 onto it goes 13 onto 19, and then you've got to move a 2.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because you'd move the 2 from the 5 to the 7.
Yeah.
And then you're 11 away. It's fine. But I think the aggressive move, because you're ahead at the moment, the aggressive move is to do. Oh, okay. No, did not see that. That's better. That's better, actually. I think you want more points. You want to get more points. You want to control more points as best you can. I actually still, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably right. And he's lucky, actually, is Eton, because the move I spotted, or the potential other move he was thinking of, he would have been pinned.
Yeah.
Because
right. Yeah, absolutely. That was the one I was thinking as well.
in fact, the other 2 moves he would have been pinned, because Eton, the other 2 moves, he would have left a spot on 13 where he could have been pinned, or a spot on 7 where he could have been pinned. So that's decent. It's decent. The only better roll would have been a double 3. Or a double 6. So the 4 is easy, the 1 is not. So I think you have to move. I think you maybe move the. I think maybe from point 9 you move both 4 and the 1.
4 from
point 9.
From point
9.
Would you move? Yeah. Oh,
I think you
yeah.
move the 4 and the 1, both from the same point. So you
okay.
move both pieces. 1 safe, 1 not so safe, but it's 8 away.
Yeah. Would you not move one? Say. Yeah.
I think so. I think you.
Say 1 or
No.
4 from there, and then 1 from there. You might get pinned, but in there. But
no, because if you're going to move from point 13 or 1, you're leaving both unprotected.
Yeah.
Within 6 of your opponent.
Yeah.
Whereas this particular case, he's only dead if Scott rolls exactly an 8.
Yeah.
Which is 5 out of 36, just under a sixth of the time.
Okay.
Like within 6, the odds of hitting a number within 6 are so much higher than hitting a number 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah.
7's the most frequent dice.
Yeah.
But you're rolling that 1/6 of the time. Whereas with 2 dice to roll at least 1 5, either a combination of dice or at least 1 5 is just so much higher.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to work it out. Let's say it's at least a 5, so it's going to be.
I'm being taken back to school here. It's great.
I think it's 15 out of 36, which is that's to roll either a single 5 on either dice or a combination 5 on a total of 5 on 2 dice. I think it's 15 out of 36, which is oh dear. Trying to do maths in my head. It's going to be 5 12.
It's over a third.
It's 5 12. It's nearly a half. Move to a half. 5 12.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think that's much better. So. Well done, Eton. He has not been pinned. He picked the correct roll given Scott, then rolled in. So what we're looking for is, well, obviously, for our Lord and Master Eton Ilfeld to win. But what we're looking for is a close game, potentially. Because if this is going to get, potentially, the gold medal match might come from here. I'm not sure Scott's tiebreaks are going to be good enough to advantage Eton, I think, in a big way. He's pinned 3 things now.
Yeah.
So you can you still can't let your own he just can't put one in his home territory safe. That's good. That's a good move, actually. He's unpinning it to keep it safe.
Yeah.
He's just checking. Yeah, I think that's a good move. And Scott's this is it's not great. You want to keep the ones on 0.6. The ones on 0.6 are so threatening. Etton's struggling to get them out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what you'd really want is either to block up 0.7
Yes.
or move the one from 0.7 to 0.6, so it's not pinned again.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want to put another one on 0.7 so that you've secured that point.
Yeah. If at all possible, move down from 0.18 and try and block 7 and 8.
Yeah, you're probably not got enough pieces on 18 to block both of them.
No.
But if you can get another 1.7, that'd be good. So this is aggressive. I think that's probably the correct move because he was going to have to leave a shot anyway. 2 and a 1, so Etton should probably pin.
Yeah.
I should pin 11 and then move 1 off 13. I
Yeah.
think that's correct. Pin 11 and move 1 off 13.
You wouldn't unpin
I would not unpin.
9, no.
On pin 9, no. I think that's great. Because if Scott pins the one Etton leaves unprotected, Scott is also leaving another one unprotected himself.
Yeah.
I think that's correct again. So I haven't seen much that either player's done wrong, but it seems whoever gets pinned first just falls into a very hard to catch up hole. Or at least it has been. And maybe that's just the fact that all the players are playing correctly and it just happens to be that way.
Yeah.
But maybe if you're playing against someone who isn't as savvy and you get pinned early, maybe there's a way to come back in if they kind of misplay.
It has been a big feature of every game we've seen.
It has,
It's surprising.
But we've generally seen some of the longer games. I think only the previous game with Martin and Jahan Barney,
Yeah.
who conceded early, has actually been a short game.
Yeah.
So maybe we've just got the players who are, so this Etton can move. He can pin on 0.7, which is probably correct. It also gives him an out. The fact that Etton controls 0.7 now means every time he rolls a 6 or a combination of a 6, like a sum of a 6,
Yeah.
he can do that. And he's just going to do that. So, yeah. Potentially Etton is close to getting a prime. Is that? Oh, that's bad. That's bad. In fact, he can only move one piece, one space. He can only move this one. That's the only piece he can move, and he can move it once. Every other 5 is blocked.
Oh my goodness.
That's really bad. Sorry, Scott. I imagine that and just moves a single piece 7. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. And then the problem is he has to move a 2 now. Maybe you just move. I think you just move the single piece 7 instead. It doesn't matter if your opponent gets it because it'll be on the 23 spot.
Yeah.
And if your opponent pins it, well, so what?
Yeah.
Maybe. He's thinking. It's not easy. It's not easy. I don't know what to do. Bear in mind, I'm saying this from a person who's not played a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
But Etton's ahead. He's got to stay ahead, so he just can't move. If you're going to leave your opponent a shot at you, which I think he has to, you probably want to leave it as close to their starting point as possible.
Mm.
One advantage in doing the move that Etton suggested is that he gets 3 in a row. Three in a row, there's no spaces between
yeah,
them.
of course.
He would get 11, 12 and 13. But the issue is, where do you move the 2? What would you do?
Oh, I'd probably move the 6. Oh no, because he's proposing to move from the 6 to...
From the 7 to the...
Or from the
7
7,
to the
yes,
12.
from the 7 to the 12, so...
So that's one of them, but then where do you move the 2? If that's the move you make. I think that's probably the best individual move you can make with a 5.
Seven,
Okay, but if you
seven,
do that, where
yeah.
do you move the 2?
Yeah, it would have to be from the 9. Would it? Because that's...
Yeah, you could do the
well,
9. You
Well,
could do,
the 13 to the
but
15,
the
isn't that safe?
the danger of relinquishing the 7 and the 9
Mhm.
is you're making it harder to get all the pieces out from the 1.
True.
And that's
True.
where you've got to stop. So I like keeping the 7, the 9, the 11 as safe spaces.
Yeah.
And I think I think I would have moved the 16, 7 to the 23.
Yeah, I think that's...
We'll see. We'll see how it works. Because now, you can't move the 5. Oh, he has to move. Oh, it's just another awful roll. Scott can't move the 5 apart from to move both of these at the bottom. The only one he can move 5 is, either the 2 that have just been freed up.
Yep.
It's really bad. I suppose you can move the 5 and then use the 2 to take. I think you move the 1 on the 9-5, and I think you move the 1 on. I think you capture Etten the single piece. Maybe that's correct.
With the 2. Oh, yeah.
See it with the 2.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think you move the 9 to the 4 spot, and I think you move the 18 to the 16 spot.
Do you think moving that 9 by 5?
No, he's just moved the whole lot.
Oh, okay.
He just moved the whole lot. Oh, look at this. Oh dear. Well done, Etten. So he's just going to move 4 from the 1 to the 2. I think.
Yeah.
No, he has another option. He can move from the 11 to the 14 plus 13 to 14, so you can get 4 in a row.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I think it's better to give yourself 2 spots on your home straight.
Yeah.
I think 1, 2. I think you just do 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did have a second option.
Yeah.
He could have controlled the 14. Just if you just tuned in, this is the final round of the Plakoto tournament. I will tell you that Scott Aegis is playing black here. He's behind in this match, but he hasn't lost a game all tournament. He is undefeated. He's our last undefeated player, and he's guaranteed a medal. For Etten to get a medal, he has to win this match. He's deciding what to do with a double 1. And backgammon Plakoto is where you don't hit your opponent's pieces and push them back to the start like regular backgammon. It's where you pin them. If you pin them, they can't repin you, and they can't move that piece until you've moved off it. So if you can see on the board, there is a spot on the top row where Etten as white has pinned black, Scott as black. And there's a spot, lots of spots on the bottom row where Etten has also done the same. So Etten is quite a way ahead. And from a lot of the games we've seen, once you've got 2, 3 or even 4 pins, it just becomes much harder for your opponent to do anything. Okay. So he's moved his 4 ones. I will let you know that Etten still has 4 on the home straight, although it looks like 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I think Scott's been a bit lucky here. I think Etten has rolled a lot better than Scott has. When Scott rolled that double 5 and can move 1 of them, you're like, oh my god, it's just not my day today.
Yeah.
Doubles are often good because they can potentially get you, especially if you've got lots on certain piles, it can potentially get you 2 different points safe.
Yeah.
That's not right. That's not 10.
Sorry, no,
That's 12.
That's 6. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just a bit miscount. So one of the benefits of backgammon, if you're trying to guess roughly where your moves are, is that the colours alternate. So if you're rolling a 6, you know you're going from in this particular yellow point to a yellow point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you roll a total of 10, you know you're still going from a yellow point to a yellow point.
Yeah.
So if you miscount, you've got to miscount twice. So this is the third game we've played today. We've played Corridor, Abalone, and Backgammon Plakoto. Do you think by just watching them that you've improved your own skills at all 3 games?
I'm definitely more mindful in Corridor. I think that's we were only able to see 2 games, the final 2 games of the tournament. But seeing the kind of blocks and the gaps that would be left, I think I can't remember was it Noah?
Against James Heppel.
Yes, the gap she left was a phenomenal
Great,
play. Yeah, it was really, really interesting. So it was interesting to see that and how gaps can be effective in leading and just offering your opponent the choice. Which way do you want to go, left or right, punk?
I'll block whichever one you do.
Yeah, exactly. So it was excellent seeing Corridor. Abalone, I think no. Do you know, I think I'd need to study the game a lot more before I feel like I could apply what I've seen, because there's a way of seeing how pieces move on that board that if you're unfamiliar with, like, it's easy on Corridor because you're moving one space orthogonally. It's a square grid. Everybody's really familiar with that, but a hexagonal grid is something quite different. And so seeing that third axis, I think, requires a lot more playing the game before you can really apply what you've seen.
Okay.
What do you think in terms of the Abalone tournament and Corridor?
I think I haven't played either game a lot, but I've commentated more than I've played both games.
Okay, yeah.
But I feel like I could just pick them out, and I could play against someone who's not played much like myself, but use all the strategies I've seen. So I know in both of those games, maybe not so much Plakoto, because I've played a lot of backgammon, and I don't think I've learnt too much more playing Plakoto, apart from pinning is good.
Yeah.
But I think in both those games, I know the sort of situations that are strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Abalone, I've watched Vincent Fauché. We watched him for 5 games, and David Pearce for 5 games.
Yeah.
Just the certain situations that are strong, when to push the opponent's piece off the board and when not to. It's a very nice thing. Thinking when I was playing as a kid, or like younger, I say as a kid, I'm like, I can push. Yeah, I've got you.
Yeah.
And then I'll regroup. I've got you, and then and then but against a good player, you would be dead. I got you, and I'm dead.
It's very interesting how their patience was exhibited in those games, both David and Vincent. Yes, I keep on wanting to say Anthony, but it's not. It's not in the slightest.
All right. So we still have a chance for a mother checker.
I'm holding my hope for it. It'll be amazing.
I think there's a chance here, because it's going to get to the point where Scott struggles to move a piece. Look at where he is now.
Yeah.
So now Scott's
still got
5.
on
His
point 10.
His only choice for the 5 is the 10 point. That's his only choice. He can't do anything else.
Yeah.
And the 2's bad as well, so he's got to leave 2 pieces exposed here. If Etten can pin them both, maybe he can force Scott to move off the back. There's a chance. And my co-commentator, I will tell you now, a mother checker is a position where you capture your opponent's 1 piece, or 24 piece in this case. You're on the very starting territory, and you have none left on your original starting space. If you do that, you win the game, because it's impossible for you to lose it from that point.
Indeed. Yeah.
And my co-commentator, Ryan Mason, said, not Mason, is it? Ryan Young.
Ryan Young.
Apologies. Ryan Young
I've
said
been called Scott. I've been called Mason.
he would go bonkers.
Absolutely mad.
Yeah.
I would riot. Mother checker in the streets. Everything else, I'll leave that to you.
So he's not got a choice for the 5. On this particular case, he has to move the 5 from the 10 to the 5. That's his only choice. And the 2, yeah, okay. He didn't have much choice with the 2, but that's probably the least of it. So he can pin with the 6 or the 3. So I think you would. Six. Yeah, that's a great move. That's really good. So I think Scott's in trouble here. Now he can move the 4, but you can't move the 3. You can't move the 3 apart from a starting one.
Can we get a sand clock? Sand clock, just in case, like an hour class. Yeah, can we get one? If just in case we need to keep the pace. I'm just concerned with time a bit.
Look at you out in 10 minutes.
I know. Well, not really. There is some like. Sorry, what did you just do? What was the move?
It was a 3 and a 4, so a 4 and a 3.
That's correct.
But what did Etan roll?
Sorry?
Okay.
What did Etan roll? I need to see the mother checker.
Yeah, so
Oh.
this is a chance.
Oh, right,
There's
okay.
no chance.
Oh,
There were 4 on that space. But
I
there
thought
is
it
a
was
chance.
only. I thought it was like 2 left.
So what's going to happen now? What Eton really wants is a 5, and then he can move off the 16 onto the 21, and restrict Scott even further. That's what Eton
Just in
wants.
case, we may not need. Just keep it on the side.
A 5-4 would be perfect, because then he could take it off the 12 to go to the
Yeah.
21. A 5-4, that's what he wants. 6-1 as he rolled.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think he just moves off the 12 onto the 12 onto the 19.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you do. 12 to 19. There is a chance, though. We might see it. Ryan Young, our first mother checker. Sounds almost rude.
It does. Yeah.
All right, that's correct, I think. So, okay, that is, I suppose, the best you can do. He can't cut it. He can get it. I think he should get it, actually. I think he should. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he should move. Yeah,
Oh.
that's right.
Oh,
I think
okay,
that's correct. Yeah, I think that's correct, because he can only be caught with a specific 6-3. There's no other way to get. Oh my God. That's the only way, because he blocked all the other combinations of 9.
Yeah,
He blocked
yeah.
the 5-4. Oh, that's lucky Scott, although he's in such a bad place anyway. That's that thing we were talking about,
Yeah.
the run of the dice. I'm like, you put yourself in a position when you're ahead and when you're doing well in the game of backgammon
Yeah.
to cater for most bad dice rolls.
Yeah.
That was the only roll where Eton could get captured.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing Scott rolled. But Scott's in such a bad position now that, for a fact, he has to uncapture it. He has to move the 5.
Yeah.
So he's got to give Eton his chip back, because the only thing he can do with the 5 is to move that piece.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if he can't move the 1, then he has to give another checker a chance.
It's set for a minute.
30
True.
seconds. I
30
think the move should be fine. So this is not.
Yeah, so he could move the 1, but there's a chance. We might still see it, Scott. 6-4
Eton's
allows
move.
Eton to block the 21 space. So with the 6 and a 4, Eton should block the 21 space. No. Go on, you want another checker. You want another checker. No.
Give the
No,
people what
I
they
think
want.
that's a mistake. I think that's a mistake. Yeah, but I think they're on the clock now. I think they're on a 30-second timer. Because we're adding the time in because we've got a time we have to leave the venue by, and it looks like we might not hit it. 6-4. Uh-oh. This is it. We've got it. He's got to move the 6 from the 24 spot.
Hope we don't roll most of the numbers.
So he needs... He's done it!
No, I think that's a long time.
We did it. That is the mother checker. That is
Once-
capturing...
Once I pinned you here, it's a bad situation to be in.
Yeah.
That was just luck, because like
Yeah.
we were both in a zugzwang in the beginning,
Yeah.
and whoever had to move was going to get busted.
Once you're busted, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and played.
But well done. So okay, so let's put it in. You still get a gold medal with the tiebreak. What was it? Oh, we finished.
Amazing.
So we did go and double check that. I'm just going to look at our cameraman to see, are we getting an interview? He's going to nip out. If he's going to look at time, can you just go double check? Tell him you need to leave or whatever. We're going to see if we get an interview. If we don't, we're going to wrap up. We're going to get you the result of that. It looked like from the conversation between Eton and Scott that Scott is going to win the gold medal anyway, based on the tie break. I'm not as sure as that because Scott had the error in his scoring, so he was playing weaker players, so that might actually not be the case.
I see.
So we're going to try and get to you the scores as quick as we can. In fact, I might leave you... would you like to nip out and find them, or shall I?
Pardon?
Shall I nip out and find out scores? We're going to have an interview. So we're going to have an interview. I'm
Okay.
going to leave the interview with Ryan. While
Okay.
you talk to the person we think is going to win,
Yep.
I'm going to find out the scores for you. So we're going to
Cool.
send the gold medalists through as quick as we can.
All right.
I'm going to leave Ryan with that person, and then I'll see the rest of you guys tomorrow. Ryan, we're going to do that and wrap up if that's okay.
Yeah,
Ryan?
absolutely.
Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Steve. I'll see you.
Cheers, and thank you very much for watching. If you've watched at home, please try and answer that question I left you, and I'll get back to you.
Yep. Regardless of whoever won the gold.
3 gold medalists, so we can interview one by one or all together?
Uh,
One by one. 5 minutes. Okay, let's go. So, can we share the mic or no?
Yeah, we've got one mic and headphones.
Okay, so
Yep.
I'll go in and then I'll switch.
It
We're
had-
going to rotate.
2 1 a minute.
Okay.
3 gold medalists. Etan, I must say before that, I feel like I've won the gold as a commentator because I saw the mother checker. It happened so that you caught the final. I'm happy. So how do you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah?
Obviously, luck was a factor, so
Yeah.
can't put down all the skill, but it feels good to get gold.
Yeah,
and,
there's a lot of moves in that last one where you blocked a lot of the points, so it was interesting to see.
I got lucky in the beginning. We were in Zugzwang. Whoever had to move was going to get in trouble, and then I was able to put him down. From there, it was kind of, it was just a matter of, I think, kind of keeping the right pressure.
Absolutely. So this isn't your first time winning a medal at Plakoto Backgammon. You came 3rd
That's right.
last year, and
My
finally
first gold.
first gold. Congratulations.
But let me let in.
That's it.
Let's let in Scott first.
Scott,
and then
come on
Martin.
in.
Come on in.
There we are, Scott. All good. Undefeated until the last game. What was it like going into that last game? Were you hopeful? What did you think?
Well, it was very tense.
Yeah.
You know, Etan's a very good player, so
Yeah.
that was going to be a difficult match.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just hoping for luck on the dice.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to double down on this point, but if you're going to lose to the mother checker. Is that what you think? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was lost, I think, from about halfway through, but
yeah. How difficult is it coming back from when you have a point, when you have one of your pieces pinned in your quarter? Like, how difficult is it to come back from that?
well, depending on what you roll, you're kind of really hoping on doubles so that
Yeah.
you can stay safe.
Yeah.
But yeah. As
Oh,
soon
okay.
as I was kind of stuck on the evens, so as soon as I get 2 odds, I've got leave 2 or kind of send 1 running.
Yeah. But you're happy with the gold medal. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you're going to be playing this weekend or this week?
There's a few more Euro games, so Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride, the
Perfect.
Grapilla.
Perfect. And who else have we got for the last interview? Yourself, Martin, isn't it? Yep. There we are. Martin, our 3rd gold medalist. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel?
Yeah, great. It's my first medal this year, so very happy.
Fantastic. Yeah, have you won medals previously in the Mind Sports Olympiad?
Yeah, very often, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
win a few.
So who was your final game against?
My final game was against Joanne Young.
Right, and how did
So
that go?
It's,
Obviously you won.
Obviously I won,
Obviously you
yes,
won, but a close game or?
it was quite close. I got an early hit quite early on. It wasn't really a deep hit that really decided the game, but it was the only thing really important that's happened in the game, and I think I was just ahead throughout.
Fantastic. Excellent. Is there anything else that you're going to be playing in the Mind Sports Olympiad this week that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm here all week, so I'm playing
Fantastic.
all sorts. Got entropy tomorrow. So
Oh,
looking
brilliant. I'll
forward
be
to that.
commentating on that. I
Yeah.
played my first game of it today, and it was great. It was
Yeah,
great
it's
fun.
a fantastic game.
Yeah,
Wish
wonderful.
it was more popular.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. So, looking back on the day, how have you enjoyed your entire tournament of Plakoto Backgammon?
Yeah, it's
I mean, if you're ending up in a gold medal, you're going to enjoy it.
Well, it's obviously ended up well,
Yeah.
but it's a really interesting game. Very very nice change to play it.
That's
It's
it.
one of those games I only ever play once a year, so
Fantastic, yeah, brilliant. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to leave it there. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to be starting the stream at 12. We're going to be kicking off with Twixt. Thank you to Martin. Congratulations again on your gold and to our other winners today. We'll leave it there and we'll see you later.